I mad upon you, are you Jerusalem, stand face Jerusalem. Blessing of the Sabbath. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Asherah.
Asherah.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Royat. Nathanawa. No, that's not. Let me start over. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Asherah.
Asherah.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Ashabaf.
Ashabah.
Bashalom.
Bashalom.
The water.
The water.
Amen.
Amen.
English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, that gives towards the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it. Ta'alia ma'a ashuraya makhat. Psalm 121. Anya, Orion, Ayinimya, O, Orion, Mayan, Yabua'a, Isaiah, Yabua'a, Mayahawa, Shaisha, Shemayim, Rarataza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Yanawam, Shashomaka, Ana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yishan, Shashomar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shemaya, Yahweh, Tazalia, Ayod, Yad, Yanim Yad, Yawamam, Ashamash, La'a, Hakaya, Rayarat, La'a, Malayala, Yahweh, Yashimaya, Mako, Rai, Yashimor, Nopasha, Yahweh, Yashimor, Aulakia, Hawaya, Maitha, Wa'ait, Iulam, Basham, Yahushua, Towara, Amen.
Psalms 121, a song of degrees. I have looked up mine eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yasharala, hear, O Israel. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad, Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad, Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, Echad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh Tapala. Yahweh's prayer. Abiyanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Haya. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakovka. Taba'a. Ratazawanka. Haya. Haisha. Ba'arataza. Ka. Bashamayim. Nathanawa. Lacham. Yawam. Za. Wasalaknawa. Kawafnawa. Kasalaknawa. Kawafinawa. Wala'a. Abiyanawa. O. Nasai 1. Abo. Awashainawa. Marai. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Wa'ala. Wataparat. Waibulam. Amen.
Amen. Luke chapter 11, verse 2. And he said unto them, when ye pray, say, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so on earth. Give us day by day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, for we also forgive every one that is indebted to us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Amen. Hashirah Tazawaf, the Ten Commandments. La'a,
La'a,
Yahaya,
Yahaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Alkaryam,
Akaryam,
Alpunya,
Alkanya,
La'a,
La'a,
Taisha,
Taisha,
Laka,
Laka,
Paso,
Paso,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Taibadam,
Laibadam,
La'a,
La'a,
Talakwaka,
Alakwaka,
Shamwa,
Shamwa,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
La'aika,
Alahayaka,
Lashua,
Lashawa,
Zakar,
Zakar,
Ayuwam,
Ayawam,
Hashabaf,
Hashabat,
Lakodashwa,
Lakodashwa,
Kabad,
Kabad,
Abiaka,
Abika,
Wa Amaka,
Wa Amaka,
La'a,
La'a,
Tuatazak,
Taratazak,
La'a,
La'a,
Tana'ap,
Tana'a,
La'a,
La'a,
Taganab,
Taganab,
La'a,
La'a,
Taina,
Tainad,
Shukur,
Shakur,
La'a,
La'a,
Takamad,
Lachamad,
Kau,
Kau,
Ashura,
Asherah,
La'aika,
Lara'ika,
Aman.
Amman. Deuteronomy 5 and 7. Thou shalt none other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord upholds him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence to a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Honor thy father and thy mother as the Lord thy God commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, neither shalt thou commit adultery, neither shalt thou steal, neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Aman. Yeshua, please be seated. Barakta Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ashura Natananawa Pa Ya Gapan Tuwara Aman La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai At Yasha Allah. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that give to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it. To Yahweh in the name of Yahushai with Israel. I mad what one you are you watch them saying face Jerusalem. Repeat the Hebrew only. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Bash Agado,
Agado,
Rakaram,
Rakawam,
Abiyo,
Abiyah,
Manawa'a,
Manawa'a,
Al Yawan,
Aliyawan,
Malat,
Malak,
Sho,
Sho,
Shemayim,
Shemayim,
Barataza,
Barakatah,
Rako,
Rakal,
Labayim,
Labayim,
Kayayam,
Kayayam,
Wagum,
Wagam,
Amashiach,
Hamashiach,
Mayahawa,
Mayahawa,
Adawannawa,
Marawannawa,
Ahabnawa,
Ahabnawa,
Hapala,
Hapala,
Yahaitaza,
Yawaitazah,
Yahushai,
Yahusha,
Zakarnawa,
Zakarnawa,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Batazawan,
Baratazawan,
Ainka,
Ainka,
Yasha'ala,
Yasha'ala,
Izarnawa,
Izarnawa,
Bana,
Banah,
Wasap,
Wasa,
Yasha'ala,
Yasha'ala,
O,
Oh,
Nanawa,
Nanawa,
Yamyan,
Yin,
Aitha,
Aitha,
Kaiwamyan,
Kayawamian,
Makudam,
Makudam,
Bakushai,
Babakusha,
Shalak,
Shalak,
Maika'ala,
Micah Allah,
Batazudak,
Baratazawadak,
Alahayam,
Alahayim,
La,
La,
Magannawa,
Magannawa,
Rabannawa,
Rapardo,
Washamor,
Washamar,
Alnawa,
Alnawa,
Baikor,
Vaikor,
Shalak,
Shalak,
Alwaka,
Haruka,
Shaw,
Sho,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Lalamadnawa,
Alamadnawa,
Rabiam,
Rabian,
Kakama,
Kakama,
Tabawana,
Tabawana,
Wada'if,
Wada'if,
Shaw,
Sho,
the
the
Barka,
Barka,
Bahasham,
Basham,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the Wada,
the Wada,
Tamyad,
Damyad,
Raiwulam,
Waiwalam,
Amun.
Aman.
English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahushua. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most high, we beg you, right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahushua to us, to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, that give to us the law. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahushua,
Bashami Yahushai,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Natananawa,
Talanawa,
Atara.
Atawara,
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, that give to us the light to see. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahushua,
Bashami Yahushai,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Natananawa,
Talanawa,
Awar,
Award,
Laura.
Larawa,
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, that give to us the ram song to call the people. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahushua,
Bashami Yahushai,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Natananawa,
Talanawa,
Karan,
Karan,
Ayo,
Kayo,
Lakara,
Lakara,
Ka'aim.
Haim.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, that give to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahushua,
Bashami Yahushai,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Natananawa,
Talanawa,
Hashaman,
Hashaman,
Zayaf,
Zayaf,
Lamashak,
Lamashak,
Yasha'ala.
Yasharella.
Yeshua, please be seated. Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shalom.
Welcome to Hayashua Kanas. My name is Kahan Pukward. Today is the Lord's Sabbath day. As regularly scheduled, every Sabbath, as we just read in Exodus, shall all flesh come to worship before him on the Sabbath day. So once again, Today is the Lord's Sabbath day. As it is prescribed, we are here today to read in the book of Tobit, chapter 3. According to the Bible, when you read in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, without a doubt, the so called Negroes and Hispanics, the so called Negroes, those whose forefathers were brought here during the transatlantic slave trade to the western hemisphere, they are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. And the prophecies line up with those people as the real Jews. And also those they call the natives who came here uh, during the after the Assyrian captivity. They traveled to a land where no men dwell, and that's why they call them the natives. The native meanings they were the first to inherit this land here called the Americas. All right. So those made up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So the chapter we're going to read today is in the Apocrypha. Some of you, if there's anybody new, this is what the Apocrypha looks like. All right. And it is the King James Version. So if you have the 1611 Bible, it is also included there. Right. And if you don't have it in book form, you can always go online, find an app, you can download it and follow along with us in the chapter that we're about to read today. All right. So again, I'm required. It is an honor to be of service, first and foremost to the Most High, by Hashem Yahushai, all praises, and also to those in Philadelphia or anywhere you may uh, reside, maybe resided, or throughout, either New York, Florida, wherever you may be in the 50 states or across the world. If we have anybody, who every now and then chime in and follow the Sabbath service, we welcome you to the Sabbath service. All right. So without further ado, get your notepad, your Bible, and then we're gonna dive into this chapter. Again, we're gonna read and give the sense. If you have any questions, comment, feel free to write them down. And we have our class time, which is Tuesdays at 7 to 10, as well as Friday, 7 to 10. So you can bring up all your questions, comments, suggestion, anything that come to mind that you feel will help you out and also help our people um, understand that this kingdom that we in, this is an extension of the Roman Empire, and we are the last day of that kingdom, and the kingdom of the Most High is getting ready to replace that kingdom. And those who the Most High appointed from the beginning to be heirs of the kingdom are the people that I mentioned earlier, right? Who we are, the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. So the purpose of us coming together is to honor the Most High and to learn about our kingdom, the way of life that we had from the beginning that we lost, and the Most High called us to come back to Him again, so that we can be those who will be in authority in the kingdom to come. All right, in the kingdom of Yahushua. So let's go to Tobit, the third chapter. And if we can recap on what we read before, Tobit was a man who did good deed, and it was a righteous man. And he came around the Syrian Babylonian captivity, right, in Nineveh. And he used to be a man that buried the Israelites, and he find resources so that they can have a decent burial. right? You know, buried them with honor. So he did that, and also he followed examples of what was left in our culture or tradition of the Jews, right? That was passed down. He followed all these customs of his uh, forefathers, and on top of it, he had his wife. Because of his great work, because of his uh, dignity, he was always on the lookout, for anything that's contrary to what he's supposed to follow, right? So when his wife um, will work and got a raise, we would say, or a bonus, and a bonus was a small goat, and he became blind, and he heard the goat, you know, yelling, and he thought that she had gotten the goat through ill means. So he ordered her to, or he asked her to, wherever she got it from, to give it back. And even though she tried to explain to him that she got it because she had a bonus, and still he didn't believe what she told him. Because of that, he had great reproach. And being a righteous man, he grieved him. And that's what we're about to read in chapter 3. So he prayed to the Most High that even in his old age, why would, such agony came upon him, even he's trying to do the right thing, right? So that's why sometimes, when we try to be over righteous and over analyze things, even we are righteous, we have to take a step back and understand and be do some critical or self-examining to see if we are in the faith, right? So let's get into the chapter. In that chapter, we're gonna post some key links, and we're gonna move forward from here. All right, so let's go. All right, and in verse 1, we're gonna go to a prayer that he made to the Most High, and that prayer is almost like he's asking the Most High to take away his life because he could not stand what become of him. Keep in mind, at that point he became blind. So if you're doing everything you can possibly do to be righteous, and you find yourself in difficult situation which you would not you unexpected, sometimes it kind of mess with your spirit, kind of like make you second guess what you're doing, right? Not that you don't know that what you're doing is the truth, or the path that you on is the right path. Is just you can put two and two together why these things are happening to you, and you are trying your best to be righteous, right? Sometimes it could be very difficult, right, when you in the situation. On the outside looking in, we may have our opinion and say, if it was me, here's what I would do. But being in the situation yourself, it's a totally different story. Kind of like when you're watching a basketball game or a volleyball game, if you're a volleyball player or if you know things or two about playing basketball, you can see that the players on the board, when they miss, you're like, oh man, how can he miss? How can he miss that shot? Man, if that were me, man, I would not have missed it. Yeah, only because you're on the sideline watching. But put you on the on the court, it'll be a totally different story. So always be mindful of what people are going through, right? Yes, analyze it, but wait until you're in the situation and try to do the right thing, as much as you possibly can. But it's easier to, see what somebody's doing and to criticize them, right? Sometimes it may be warranted, but wait until you're in the situation and see how, you would react. All right. So let's go to the prayer. And we're gonna see that prayer is a reoccurring, it's significant theme in the chapter that we're gonna read. All right, so let's go to the first verse now, chapter 3. All right, in chapter 3, first verse reads, "Then I, being grieved, did weep, and in my sorrow prayed, saying, O Lord, thou art just in all thy work." Because sometimes it's good to cry out when you're in a situation, and crying in some part of this world, they said men is not supposed to cry, right? And Yahushua himself cried. And one of the shortest verse in the Bible is Yahushua is wept, right? It's why you crying in the situation. And because being emotional, they always attributed it to women. But it's neither women or men. Anybody can cry, and it's also release some emotion, some battling, some in inner anger, and it's good for your health as well, right? Because sometimes if you keep everything in, that's where depression comes in, right? You can anxiety and depression. Sometimes people would go in a room when you're watching a movie or and something happen, you'll see the person lash out by himself, right? So you release that negative energy that's in you, right, to the point where you shed tears. So in his situation, the tears shows how much anger and how much sorrow and emotion that he had in him in his situation. It says, "Then I bring grief. Then I, being grieved, did weep, and in my sorrow pray, saying." So now he's going through his prayer. "O Lord, thou art just in all thy works, in all thy ways are mercy and truth, and thou judgest truly and justly forever." Even though in his anger, he did not come out and curse the Most High. Even in his anger and in his grief, in his sorrow, he acknowledged the Most High as being just. And everything that the Most High has done is righteous. And also, it's mercy and truth in what the Most High does. And he judged forever. No matter what, the Most High is the judge forever. So that's a good attitude to have, even in a bad state, in a sorrow state, right? So for the first verse, you can see it's not only him that has the same, attitude in anger. We're gonna get that in a minute. And let's go to Tobit chapter 8, verse 5. And Baba Kusha, you could read that, Nabia, if you when you get it. Tobit chapter 8.
Tobit chapter 8, verse 5. Then began Tobias to say, Blessed art thou, O power of our fathers, and blessed is thy holy and glorious name forever. Let the heavens bless thee and all thy creatures.
Right. And you see, this is part of how we pray as Israelite. We always bless. See, blessed be the name of the Most High. Even in the prayer that we read earlier this morning, it's always blessed be the Lord, of our fathers. And that's pretty much is always been a recurring theme, right? To apply, the word bless when it comes to, praying to the Most High first and foremost. Also, same Tobit, you'll see another example. Go to chapter 11 and verse 14. You could read that once you have it. Tobit chapter 11 and verse 14 to 15.
Tobit chapter 11, verse 14. And he wept and said, Blessed art thou, O power, and blessed is thy name forever. And blessed are all thy holy angels. For thou hast scourged and hast taken pity on me. For behold, I see my son Tobias. And his son went in rejoicing and told his father the great things that had happened to him.
Right.
In Media.
Right. So again, we want to hone in on the same reoccurring theme that's happening in the prayers. It's always start with bless. Same book, go to chapter 13, verse 1.
Tobit 13 and 1. Then Tobit wrote a prayer of rejoicing and said, Blessed be power that liveth forever, and blessed be his kingdom.
Right. So it's the same theme, reoccurring theme, bless, 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 in the same chapter. So let's continue on. Let's go to verse 2 now. All right, verse 2. So it reads in verse 2, it says, Remember me and look on me, punish me not for my sins and ignorances and the sins of my fathers who have sinned before me. So he acknowledged it could be because of his sinning, right? Even though he's a righteous man, sometimes we got to pray for things that we do unaware, right? Even though consciously he always looked to do things in the right way, but unconsciously his mind might have tricked him in a way. For example, when David prayed, Thou know my heart, O Lord, because there are things in his mind that he may not have control over, that is passed down, that he built in himself as habit, that he does automatically, right? Because that you don't have control, because as you are a kid growing up, you are being brought by your parents, and sometimes you may learn habits from people around you that you picked up, things that are not the right thing, but you act on them, right? Those things are in your mind, or in your subconscious mind, right? So you got to pray for those things so that one day they don't creep up and cause you, to walk backward or not according to how the Most High wants you. So he prays for that. He says, Remember me and look on me, punish me not for my sins and ignorances, right? Sin that he does in ignorance. And it says, Punish me not for my sins and ignorances and the sin of my fathers. Remember, Moses said, I will punish you, and I will punish you from the third to the fourth generation. Right? So he prayed for that as well. How you doing? Hello, how you doing, brother? All right. Yeah, he hasn't shown up yet. Sure, you can. Cut. Yes. All right. And we in verse 2 now. Again, let me read it again. It says, "O Lord, thou art." It says, "O Lord, thou art just in all." I'm sorry, verse 3. "Remember me and look on me. Punish me not for my sins and ignorance and the sin of my fathers who have sinned before me." Mhm. Verse 4. For they obey not, for they obey not thy commandments. Wherefore thou hast delivered us for a spoil, and unto captivity, and unto death, and for a proverb of reproach to all the nations among whom we are dispersed. So he acknowledged that the plight and the agony and the problems, sickness, it's all due to us breaking the commandments of the Most High. So sin came upon us, captivity came upon us because we disobey the Lord's commandments. And our plight, being captive under the Syrians and the Babylonians, right, under the Syrians and the Babylonians, right, it was due to our disobedience. So the Most High gave us to those people, those nations, right, in captivity, right? Verse 5. And now thy judgments are many and true. Deal with me according to my sins and commandments. Neither have walked in truth before thee. So he agreed that if he does wrong, he doesn't have any problem that the Most High punish him, right? Because if he break laws, he doesn't have any problem suffer the consequences. Even in this kingdom, this wicked kingdom, if you get caught breaking the laws, there is consequences. You may pay a fine, or depending on the offense that you commit, you may end up serve time in prison. And the Mosai is the one who started or who originated such laws and commandments, in the world copy of the laws and commandments that the Mosai created. Keep in mind, the world doesn't start from scratch. They don't start on their own. They start their kingdom or their ways based on what the Mosai established, and they copy it. And sometimes they make adjustments or they change things around. But all in all, the world laws are not. They didn't start, from scratch. They started from what the Mosai created or what the Mosai put in place, and they use them and make their own, adjustment to them. So in that case, wouldn't it be best to follow the original as opposed to follow something that somebody watered down? Of course it would. But even though it's, second nature, that's what we would have done, follow the original as opposed to a copy version. But we did follow after their customs. All right. So because we followed their customs, we neglect the customs or the tradition, the law, statute, commandments of the Mosai. Therefore, consequences must be paid. Even though we are his people, right? We're not spared from being, judged when we break the commandments. Imagine if we, his people, get judged for breaking his commandments because he's dealing with us. What about the other people who not even keeping the commandments, or let alone have the commandments? They commit sin day and night. Every day they committing sin. So there's no escape, right? There's no escape for them. So think about the level of punishment that they will go through once it's all said and done. So, so let's go to verse 5 now. I'm sorry, verse 6. Now therefore deal with me as seemeth best unto thee, and commend my spirit to be taken from me, that I may be dissolved and become earth. For it is profitable for me to die rather than to live, because I have heard false reproach and have much sorrow. Right. So now he was so careful in his ways, in how he act, in how he deals with himself and with other people. He was very sorrowful when he criticized his wife, and he found out that it was not called for. Right, he was in the wrong the way he criticized her. So now he knows the Most High has the sole authority to judge him, and he cannot stop the Most High from doing whatever he wants to do with him. Not only that, because his track record, because he was righteous, now that he's blind and he's facing reproach for bad judgment that he passed on his wife, he asked the Most High to take away his life. Right? He could not bear it. So he told the Most High to take away his life. Let's get a link up to see that he was not the only one who found himself in this situation. Let's go to Numbers, the 11th chapter and the 15th verse, to see who else had the same situation happen, and he prayed, right, for the Most High to take away his life. Numbers 11 and 15, and you could read that, Nabiyah, once you have it. Numbers 11, verse 15.
This links with verse 6.
Go on.
Numbers 11 and verse 15. If thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness.
Right. So that's Moses. Moses, being a leader in Israel, being a great man in Israel, he also had his fault. Right? He had his fault. And he found himself in a situation where things got too hard. He felt like things got too hard for him. He also asked the Most High if it'll be his will to take him out. Right? So let's see another example, another man, and we are familiar with. Let's go to 1 Kings 19 and 4. You could read that as well. Go ahead. And keep in mind, another thing that to note, they asked the Most High to take away their life. They did not commit suicide. They did not take life in matters into their own hand and take away their life on their own accord, which would be of the Most High anyway. But you see the action, the attitude, and the action that they took. They asked the Most High because they know the Most High is the one that gives life. The Most High is the one that created them, as opposed to them thinking that they own themselves. Right? They don't own themselves to take away their own life. They ask the Most High to take their life away, as opposed to commit suicide themselves. Right?
1 Kings 19, verse 4. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers.
Right. So again, another example of Elijah did the same thing. Let's go to Job 7 and 15. Job 7 and verse 15. Again, those scriptures go into how not only Tobit, other prominent figures of our people in the scriptures face difficult situation, and sometimes it's so hard they pray the Most High to take away their lives. So not to take people's plight for granted, right? If we can encourage them and help them in some situation, even though they the one knowing what they're going through in such situation, right?
Job chapter 7, verse 15. So that my soul chooseth strangling and death rather than my life.
Right. Okay, so you would rather die in his situation than his life, because there's a situation that you in that could be very very tough, right? Very tough. At that point, you would rather not be here, but be with the Most High in the heavenly realm.
Well, can you ask questions? You can't ask questions.
You can.
What was the reason they wanted to die?
They face difficult situation, which they believe is too much for them to bear. It's ahead of them. The flesh could not. The flesh fighting with the spirit.
Right.
So it's like it's a constant battle, and sometimes they could not find the right balance, the spiritual balance to overtake the situation that was upon them at the time.
So far, you spoke of Moses and Elijah.
Spoke of Moses, Elijah, and Job. And in the chapter that we read in Tobit, that's why I pulled those people to show that he was in a similar situation as they were in a similar situation. Okay, so now let's get back to the topic in that we're reading on the chapter in Tobit. Right, because you can get confused. You may feel like, man, I'm doing everything right, and all of a sudden I mess up, and I feel like, all the work that I have done, it's like for nothing. At this point, you feel disappointed in yourself, and you feel like you disappointed the Most High as well, and you feel like you're no good. Right? But again, I understand. That's why the Most High said, don't be over righteous. Right? Don't be over righteous. Do what you can to the best of your ability and be honest with yourself. Right? And when you're honest with yourself, you know that you will strive to be perfect, meaning perfect when you messed up. You say, okay, I messed up. You get back again on track. That's what being perfect means. You try to keep things in perfect balance. You're going to mess up. And then, sometimes the world have the wrong conception of the word perfect. Perfect means you can do no wrong. That's not what it meant. Perfect means when you mess up, you realize you mess up, you say, I'm not going to let that get in my way. I'm still going to continue to try to do the right thing. Right? That's what the perfection is. David, the Most High called David a perfect man after his own heart. Was David perfect according to the world's way? No. David messed up, but every time he mess up, he go back to the Most High, he confess, and he can realize, man, I mess up. Things that I learned and things that is in my mind. Sometimes I do things, I don't know where the heck it come from. And sometimes I do it and I know where it come from. But it's just like at the end, he realized who can understand all these things but the Most High? Because sometimes he cannot understand it, right? So that's why you always go back to the power that create all things, right? So let's go back to Tobit.
Tobit.
Mm-hmm.
What verse, chapter?
We in chapter 3.
Yeah. Seventh verse, right?
We go in the 7th verse, correct? It came to pass the same day that in Ecbathan, a city of Media, Sarah, the daughter of Regel, was also reproached by her father's maid. So, in the same token, other people Sarah was going through her own problem as well, right? Just to see that he's not unique. Problem is not unique to Tobit. Everybody got a situation going on that need to be resolved. Sarah, what we just read right here, she was going through her own plight, her own situation.
Abraham's wife, right?
No, that's a different Sarah.
Oh, okay.
Right? It says Sarah Ragel.
Oh,
okay. Okay, let's read it again. It came to pass the same day that in Ecbathan, a city of Media, Sarah, the daughter of Ragel. You see, Sarah, the daughter of Ragel,
okay,
was also reproached by her father's maid. And we're gonna read on, see what the situation was.
okay.
Not yeah.
You want to share what Brother Tyrone with tribe these Israelites are?
I mean, you could chime in.
So you go back to chapter 1. These Israelites come from the tribe of Naphtali. They're
Mhm.
one of the 10 tribes that were taken captive. Today we call them so-called Native Americans, or in Canada they call them First Nations. But that's what they were back then. And due to their disobedience, they were taken captive under the Assyrian Empire. That's where they're at now. At this place, Ecbathan. You look on the map. And that's back in the Tobit chapter 1, verse 1. It gives that introduction.
Okay.
All right. So you good now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to the 7th verse. So she was going through her plight. Keep in mind that the plight that they're going through is, as he mentioned up there, is us breaking the commandments, and they're in captivity. They going through not only life problem, they going through personal problem, and they in captivity. Parallel to this day, in this present day that we in now, the same people going to personal problem. The Israelites, we going to personal problem. We going to captivity problem. We got to go to the job. The job sometimes, we go into problems, right? The same people going through the same captivity we are today in another captivity, which is the last captivity. Okay, so we are those people that are back then, so that we can make the connection. We're not reading some isolated history. When we come here every Sabbath, we're reading our history, right, from back then and how it relates to today and what we need to do to move in the future, where we're gonna be in the future, right? So this is pretty much we at the end of the prophecy that the Mosai prophesied way back then that would happen to those people back then, who we are today, right? Okay, so just to make the connection, because it's sometimes it's not easy to sit here and read some story, and if you don't feel like it's relating to you, sometimes you fall asleep because what the hell that has to do with me today? I'm going through my own problem. Now I'm sitting here listening to all these things. What's that has to do with me? It's actually your story. It's you. It's the same people.
Now the reproach here, Sarah, the daughter of, you said Gregory, also reproached by her father's maid.
Right.
She was reproached that they had some differences.
There's she had some issue, and the maid was criticizing her, and we're gonna read that as we read on what this issue was.
Yeah.
You don't know what the word reproach means, right?
Yeah, got an idea that they had some differences.
See, look at reproach. It says to find fault with the person, to blame, or to censure. Usually just say, you always try to find the briefest and completest definition for words when we read. Just means to shame someone.
To shame, okay.
Right.
That's what Sarah did to Hagar.
That's what Sarah's handmaid did to her.
Right, but I was talking about Sarah.
Oh, the other Sarah.
Right, same.
The other Sarah.
Yeah, kind of like, you know.
Right, same thing. Okay.
Yeah. And
No, I think
not the same thing.
other way around. Yeah.
Other way, okay.
Hagar and her son Ishmael making fun of Isaac.
Isaac, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So, like the brother just mentioned, back then when we hear Ecbatah, this that it's like we don't hear these names anymore. They changed. But what is it today? It's like modern day in Iran, right around that area. Remember, things started in Mesopotamia, in the land over there, right? So that's where we were at the time.
Right.
Okay. So, just so we make the connection and, we relate to it, right? Which was the capital of Media, right? In Ecbatana. All right. So move along in verse 8 now. Because that she had been married to 7 husbands. Follow through here. So that's the beginning of what the report is about. Because that she had been married to 7 husbands, whom Asmodeus, the evil spirit, had killed. So meaning she attempted to have she attempted to have wife at 7 different times, meaning every time she goes to the wedding chamber to lay with his wife to consummate the marriage, before that even happened, there's an evil spirit that come in and kill the husband.
So she had 7 different husbands.
She has different 7.
Each one died.
Each one died while they go into the wedding chamber to consummate, to have sex. Before that even happened, the husband died in the chamber. So the evil spirit killed the husband.
Is that because of her?
Not because if it's a spirit. I don't know what it was in back then, but the spirit, did not want that to happen. Right? And we're gonna find out what happened then, how they break the spirit. Because of that, she was being, shamed by the maid. Like, you have 7 different husband, and we're gonna see what she said.
Do you think that was
What more she said?
God's will, or just
everything is of the Most High.
Okay.
Everything is of the Most High. Has control over everything.
Right.
But sometimes, due to our ignorance and bad practice, things come upon us because there's other things around the world as well that's in operation.
I got you.
All right, because we disobey the Most High, evil spirit can come on you. Because if you don't have the Most High spirit, you get an evil spirit. Depending on how you deal with that evil spirit, you might attract that kind of spirit on you. You see what I'm saying?
How do you get rid of that evil spirit?
By coming back to the Most High's law, statute, commandments, do what you're supposed to do. Then the evil spirit. Then we're gonna see what happened there.
Okay.
All right, how the evil spirit got out of her.
Oh, okay.
All right. It says, because that she had been married to 7 husbands, whom Asmodeus, the evil spirit, had killed before they had laid with her. So we have to make sure that we put that right here. It says before they actually laid together. Because back then, I'll tell you this, being grew up in Levi land or Haiti, there are things that some women cannot really keep a husband because they married to an evil spirit. Right? They married to an evil spirit. They cannot keep a husband.
Well, that's because they practice that, right?
They practice that. Right?
Someone close to them does.
Right. Sometimes it passed down from parents and inherited?
Because I had experience with a West Indian family, and I was told that when the child was born, and the grandparents or the forefather, mother, father, they put them spirits with that child to help them with decisions and making things go the way they need them to go.
Right, because they now at that point they disregard. They're not dealing with the Most High to begin with,
Okay.
because in order for them to live, you have to hang on to something spiritual. So they find that those kind of things to gravitate towards and do service to them and do rituals and things like that, so
Right.
that they can, protect their kids. Supposedly, that's the spirit now that the kid has on them that's protecting them. Okay, all throughout their life. So every year they got to do rituals, ceremony. They have to renew
To
their
keep it going.
to keep it going. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So it says, right. It says, do thou not. Let me read it on top again so we can make sure everything's synchronized. Because that she had been married to 7 husbands, whom at Asmodeus the evil spirit had killed before they had laid with her. Do thou not know, said they, that thou hast strangled thy husbands? So, which means they put the blame on her, that she's the one who strangled the husband. All right.
But can they call her husband? I mean, can she call them her husband even though they hadn't been married?
I mean, they call her husband because they courting, but they never consummate the marriage. So therefore, they not, fully married.
Because they had been betrothed?
Exactly. She has not been betrothed.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, she betrothed, like meaning.
Oh, they had agreement.
They had agreement.
Okay.
Engagement, kind of like what they said.
I got
Engagement.
you.
They engage, but not not consummate the marriage to make it, official.
Okay.
Spiritually official.
Okay, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like today, if you go to a wedding ceremony, right? You're gonna go through the ceremony and you're gonna exchange vows and certificates and different things as you're gonna read in this chapter or these chapters. And they go through the ceremony and then they say, and now I present to you such and such and such and such, right? Now you'll have a whole banquet and dancing and everything else, but technically it is not official until you consummate the marriage. But you still acknowledge and recognize them as together. Nobody else gonna come in and be like, maybe I got a shot. Maybe I got a shot with her. No, right. She's with that man.
Right.
Right. So in that perspective, you're looking at her as being married to that man. Now time goes on and they have some issues or what we're going to read here, and they never consummate. Then that is rules or whatever to say, okay, you know what, we can go apart, and they got never consummated. Right. That's how society will also think that. But in the scriptures, it's the same thing. Once you are betrothed to that person, nobody else is going to come in at the same time and be like, well, you ain't got no paperwork, so hey, you ain't technically married yet, so hey, you could date or get betrothed to 2 or 3 people and then choose at the end. No, that don't work that way.
Now, what about in the same situation of somebody coming and object to that marriage? How do they handle that? You know how somebody they say, did anybody have anything to say about this?
Right.
I object to them getting married, something like that.
That's that's something that they do in this system. Right. It's something that they do in this system. Keep in mind, when we talking about the Mosai's law, right? It's something that is a separate. That's why we are separate people. When things done right, it's gonna go right, all the way. We have our ways of doing things. They have their ways of.
Because that betrothal is binding.
It's binding, yeah. Spiritually binding.
Okay, and can't nobody else speak on that or say nothing about that.
Right, because spiritually binding. Okay. In this world, is the ring is the bind. They neglected the consummate the marriage as the one that's supposed to tie in the marriage. It's the ring in the system that bind the marriage. So that's why people just go and have casual. We all do it, right? In ignorance, we do casual sex. We think it's whatever. But in reality of the scriptures and spiritually, that's what officially consummate the marriage.
Okay.
That's make it spiritually binding in the eyes of the Most High, not in the eyes of men.
Gotcha.
Right.
Just want to read this real quick from the law concerning the discussion. This is Exodus 22, 16 and 17.
Exodus 22.
Verses 16 and 17, as far as how our law says to do it.
Wait a minute. Exodus. You said 3:16?
22.
Oh, 3 and 22.
Exodus
Chapter 22.
Chapter 22.
Oh,
Yeah, verse 16.
Maybe 17 as well. So Exodus chapter 22 and verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. 17. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virtue. So the father would speak against it way before they even got to that point. He saw the guy and was like,
Now, what if he lay with her before they were married? What happened if he lay with her before they got married?
You see? You see what happened? It's like it's a fight between
Good and evil.
no. It's a fight between the custom that we come to adapt in this system. You see? Yeah. So the sex is the marriage.
Okay.
Is the official spiritual binding. Right. All right, so let's go back to Tobit. Right. So in also in the 8th chapter where it says the demon, right? It was known in media. It was the god of wrath. You know, the god of wrath. That's got, you know, that was that what that demon represent. So that's why the wrath came on the husband every time, you know, they were getting ready to consummate the marriage. So it was known in media.
and we were talking about it before about these other books that'll reference our forefathers, and people get confused. They say, oh, it talked about Solomon or references Jasher, that's in the Bible, so it must be true. But that we're talking about that lesser key of Solomon, going into it's stories about how he, you know, summoned these devils to help him build a temple or some nonsense that you can't prove. But you have this unclean spirit is in that group of those devils. And you know, they all have like a name, a call sign. They all have like a symbol, you know, a time when you're supposed to call upon them, all this type of stuff.
Right.
So it'll say lesser key of Solomon. You'll think, oh, okay, this is something that's like Bible related, but like, no, it's dealing with the occult, the left hand stuff.
Right.
This film we talking about, how the 7 husbands died. Is it something that she conjured up, or is just this evil spirit is constantly following her because of something she done?
No, it wasn't something that she done. That's something that just happened. That's upon her. That's not something that she deliberately have done. Actually, it doesn't say that here. So, but we know something happened that she got the evil spirit on her, right?
So
that killed the
It
husband.
is on her.
Right. That
But you don't
prevented.
know why. You don't know why.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
Could it be something parents done?
Right. So and like I mean, it.
Just the first couple verses.
Right.
It's simple.
Right. It could be. You could pull a scripture. Go ahead. It could be because of sin that she did, a forefather. Because sometimes, like we were saying earlier, the sin of your forefathers, sometimes they pass things down. Now they pass things spirit down on you without you even know. Let's say if you're a baby, right, and you're born, your parents go and do something on you. You don't even know that, but that spirit is on you. You didn't go because at that point you're not conscious, to even know what the heck is happening. But your parents do stuff and put it on you.
But you know something, I was in that same situation with my oldest daughter from my first wife. On her 21st birthday, right? They gave her a dinner, a dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't invite me, but me and their mother was kind of like semi-separated.
Mm-hmm.
And they took her among these other West Indian people, and I guess they prayed over her or did something to her that she didn't know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I asked about this, and I said, what happened? You didn't tell me. I was just here yesterday. She said, Dad, I didn't know. They surprised me. But I asked her what happened at the thing. She said, Dad, I don't remember nothing happened that day. I don't remember nothing.
How old is she?
She was 21 when that happened.
Yeah.
Today she's like 49. But that's how the West Indians stuck these spirits with the children. Like you say, when they were young, they do something to them. Now, something was done, I believe, to each one of my children. They're very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Man, is they smart. They would lose you, me, and everybody else in here. And when it comes to books, reading, and you read it one time and they got to understand. I got to turn the thing upside down, sideways, to get the full understanding. But they just like snap right away.
Right. Because sometimes they operating under the auspices of that spirit that they put on them.
Right.
Yeah. But so let's move on.
Okay. Still on the 8th verse, right?
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna go to the 9th verse. So let me finish the 8th verse. It says, "Do thou not know," said they, "that thou hast strangled thy husbands? Thou hast had already 7 husbands, neither was thou named after any of them." So, which means she did not carry any one of those husbands' name. All right. So let's read on in verse 9.
But you read St. John now?
I mean, for the sake of time, you understand what we
Yes.
brought out. Okay. But if you John 9, you can reference it so he can write it down. He can read it in his own time.
You said John, what?
St. John chapter 9, 1 to 3.
John 9, 1 to 3. It's pretty interesting.
Yes, it's because when you read the story, there's an evil spirit that's around her, where every man that she comes upon, that man is not destined for her. So they're going to die, right? So that evil spirit is going to take that individual to cause them to die. Now, we don't know, the Most High has an infinite, perfect way of handling all situations, right? Dealing with certain individuals that we don't know their past lives and what they did. So
right. I mean,
the spirit has it where it can deal with that. But as we read later on, this was of the Most High to happen that way, right? Because it was something that she was going to be given to a certain individual that she didn't know about. But she herself had to go through this. It's like everybody has to bear their burden, right? Everyone goes through certain things that you may not understand. Why is it God is crosses upon me, or why do I have to go this? And then you get to a certain point, and then it's like, oh wow, now, man, I had to go through all those tribulations and trials and things, and where am I at now? Same thing. You could look at that on an individual level. You could look at that as a national level. Like Israel, we're going through still a lot, but then what's to gain is so much farther more. So in this situation, like you mentioned, we don't know for what purpose was this evil spirit put upon her to have her go through these things in marriages. But we'll see what the angel will say later on, because he'll kind of clear it up.
So it is going to explain why she went through this?
It's going to explain as
okay,
we read on in the story.
Decent right there.
Right. It's going to explain. It's not going to tell you why the evil spirit, but you're going to see things transpire. Say, oh, okay, this is why. But why the evil spirit went on her specifically, there's no saying that, who was sin or that and the third.
No, yeah, that was right.
All right, so let's move on. So now she's being reproached, right? Now in verse 9. Wherefore do thou beat us for them? If they be dead, go thy ways after them. Let us never see thee, either sons or daughter. Right? So now she said she's being reproached like very badly.
No children.
No children. You don't even have children. You're doing all that. You don't even have any children to bear your name, and you had 7 husbands. What kind of woman are you? Right? Because they say your husband is dead. And they even tell her, go. I mean, why don't you go join them, the husband, so we don't ever see you again?
They want her to die too.
Yeah, they want her to die too. And the thing is, it's coincidence. You see? Right? So, like, coincidentally, you see it's the Most High at work, because he's going through his problem, she's going through her problem. Coincidentally, you're going to see how things synchronize. Meaning, even though the situation are disconnected, the Most High connects everything. He knows everybody. Everything is connected. Like, with the children of Israel, we are connected because we are one people, right? We are one people. Mm-hmm.
Does it ever speak of her being righteous, that this still would fall on her?
We're gonna find out. Let's read on. Let's read on. Verse 9. Verse 9 again. I'll read it. Wherefore do thou beat us for them, for the husband? If they be dead, go thy ways after them. Let us never see of thee either son or daughter. And I say, you don't even have sons or daughters. It says, go find after them. Your dead husband. Says, go die with them. Right? Verse 10. When she heard these things, she was very sorrowful, so that she thought to have strangled herself. So now she wanted to strangle herself. Right? She had the thought of strangling herself, because that's a tough situation to be in. Imagine the word goes around town. That's the woman that killed 7 husbands. Don't even mess around with her. And things like that go around, you defame. You cannot even walk in the street because this is her right there. You stay away from her.
Not unless you want to die. Right,
not unless you want to die as a man. Or you become a talk of town, and all that, and all that problem get into your mind, you don't want to exist anymore. You would rather die, to face, such life, right?
Mm-hmm. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 12. Mm-hmm. Because it is a heavy thing to carry, like you said. Imagine if you was a sister, right, and you're going through this. I would presume that she's, a person who, on the surface, and also on the inside, is a nice sister. Mm-hmm. But now you're carrying this burden where every time you go to get married off, your potential husband is dying in the wedding chamber. Mm-hmm. And you have to come out, you have to see that, you have to come out, explain, and everyone's down what's going on. By the second or third, there's already a cloud over you. But right. You're still going. The fourth and the fifth. Right. Same thing happens. The sixth and the seventh. Mm-hmm. Seventh, the spiritual number reaches completion. But now you're carrying this burden, and now it's just weighing on you. You say, you know what? Maybe you start getting like Job, start getting like Tobit. You know what, man? Maybe it's just best for me to die. Maybe I just give myself up. Why am I going through this torment? But the Lord says in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and 12, seek not death in the era of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands. Right? Suicide. So don't go and look to commit suicide or kill yourself because you're going through certain burdens. You're going through certain trials. You may not understand it. You don't know your strength yet. Right, it tells you in 1 Corinthians, it was 10:13, no temptation. Right, 1 Corinthians 10, chapter 13, verse, lets you know that there's not much that you are going through that probably somebody else has already gone through or is going through and is overcoming it, right? So don't think that you're the only one. Don't think that nobody can go through it, right? The Most High knows your strengths and your weaknesses. So some of these things would not be happening to some of us as individuals unless we were capable of overcoming it. We just now need to harness the spirit, study, ask the questions, go get good counselors to help advise you, pray, fast, so that at some point you can now have the patience and the strength to deal with it, the wisdom to know how to overcome it. That's the key. So in this example here, yeah, we're human. People use that as excuse, but meaning we have emotions. We have, that left-hand side that kind of puts doubt in your mind. Maybe this ain't for me. Maybe, right? And you start going through those questions in your mind. Mm-hmm. But then that righteous spirit comes through and say, yes, this is you. This is for you. Why not you? You are able to overcome it and be a beacon and a light for somebody else so that they can come through. So these storylines is for us to digest and really apply to ourselves and say, Dad, if I was in that situation, could I do that? And if I can't right now, what do I need to do to build myself up? Pray, Lord, that if something ever came to me like that, I would be able to get through it. Right?
Go on. Not only that, the scripture says, God said he would never give you nothing that you couldn't handle.
Right.
So,
right. Like again, as the Kahan bringing out, it's easy to say those words, right? The Most High will not give you something you can handle. But there's some situation that you in, you're like, man. Right? You're like, man. Right, that's the same thing that she's going through.
That's when the flesh takes over.
Right, it's just like, it's like now your strength, you got to see your faith and everything is getting tested there. Yes, you can overcome it, but going through it is,
the hard part.
Yeah.
Hebrews 12 and 11 for that, to go along with 1 Corinthians 10, 14.
You said Hebrews?
Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 11 to go with 1 Corinthians 10, 13.
You said 12, Hebrews 12 what?
And 11. To speak to what Khan just said.
Hebrews 12 and 11. Gotcha.
You read it? Oh.
Hebrews 12 and 11. Now no chastening for the present seemed to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded a peaceful fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Right. So nothing that you're going through for the present time is sweet or is nice. But if you hold on, the experience, what you're gonna get, what's gonna be added on to you, to what you had before, right? It cannot be compared to the pain that you went through.
Can you read that again, please?
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceful fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
All right, you get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on in verse 11 now.
Did you do 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says, when she heard the thing, she was very grieved. Mm-hmm. And it says, strangle herself. And she said, I am the only daughter of my father. And if
What verse you say you had again?
I'm still at 10. I'm finishing up
okay.
with 10.
Still 3 and 10.
Right. It says, and where it says strangle herself. Now we're going to continue where it says, and she said, I am the only daughter of my father. And if I do this, it shall be a reproach unto him. and I shall bring his old age with sorrow unto the grave. So now she became considerate of her father because she was the only daughter. She said if she kill herself or strangle herself, not only is gonna bring reproach to the father, she might be the one to take him to his grave. So because of that, she reconsider her ways. Right? Sometimes you just need something to hang on, a purpose, a reason to stay alive.
Right.
And she found that at least in the sorrow that she was going through, she had something to hold on to. Right?
Right.
Sometimes it could be, that's what's gonna, quell the situation. So you at this point, there's for yourself, you don't see any reason why you should be alive. But for that sake, you have respect unto your parent and things like that, then that keeps you around. But all that came to her mind is the Most High at work. You see what I'm saying? She's going through it, then the thought came in. Most High planted that in there so that she can still hang on for his purpose to be accomplished. Okay. Verse 11. Then she prayed toward the window and said, blessed art thou. You see the recurring theme of the prayer? It's always start with bless with the Most High, right? As we did earlier. Blessed art thou, O Lord, my God, and thine holy and glorious name is blessed and honorable forever. It's always a good opening statement to your prayer. Okay. Let all thy works praise thee forever. Right? So now, when it says praying to the window, what does that mean? It means praying towards Jerusalem. Right? Instead of praying to the window. Let's go to Daniel 6 and 11. You could read that once you have it. Because it said when we pray as Israel, we pray towards our land, right? Because this is a favorite part of land from the Most High, because he said that he would always have his eyes on that land. So we turn and pray. That's why when we stand up and pray, we pray towards Jerusalem, towards the Jerusalem.
So from here, which way is Jerusalem?
If you face, like I'm sitting down here, face this way. You would turn around, it's in the same way, and it's this way.
It's going towards Jersey.
Right. No, I mean not when I mean Jerusalem, the motherland.
No, I know what you're saying, but
Okay.
It's in that direction.
Right.
Right.
Because the easier way of trying to determine it from where we are is the rising of the sun.
Right.
Because it rises from the east. So you'll be able to just find out where the sun rises or the opposite of where the sun sets.
All right. So this always like we were saying earlier too, the opening prayer, bless our thou. This is our traditional way of opening our prayer.
Okay.
Right. It's always been, how we most likely. So you could read that, Kahan Nabi.
Daniel chapter 6, verse 10. Now when Daniel knew the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime.
Right. So right here, in her story, which is being, narrated in third person, right? So now we see Daniel did the same thing, but they mentioned Jerusalem. They mentioned the window. Now, when we read here, it don't mention Jerusalem. It mentioned the window, like she did say. It's the same customs how we knew it. Okay.
So wait, you said something about a fourth time? Didn't it say about a fourth time? You said you did 3 times and then about a fourth time? Did I hear you correctly? Or
3 times.
Okay, 3 times.
Right. So let's go on. Verse 12. Verse 12. Yes. And now, O Lord, I see mine eyes and my face towards thee. and say, take me out of the earth. Right? She says, and now I, O Lord, I see mine eyes and my face towards thee, and say, take me out of the earth, that I may hear no more the reproach. Because for those who go into such problem, death feels better than anything else. It's like that, yeah. Let's go to Psalm 116 and verse 15.
116.
Come on. And you could read that. Go on. Samar, go on. Psalm 116 and verse 15.
Psalm chapter 116, verse 15. It says, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints.
Right. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saint. But the Most High has got to be the one who, do it, and for his saints. Like when you keep the laws of the Most High, you do things that you're supposed to do. That means job well done. Come home.
Gotcha.
All right. So that means you finish your purpose with job well done.
Oh, I got a scripture too.
Go on.
Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 30, and verse 17.
That's in the Apocrypha.
Oh, go ahead, read it. I ain't gonna catch up to it.
Yeah, you could write it down. What's
Well, you say Ecclesiastic, right?
Ecclesiasticus. So probably abbreviated.
What's the verse?
ECCLUS.
No, I got that.
Chapter 30 and verse 17.
That's in the Apocrypha, right?
Yeah.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 30 and verse 17. You could write that down.
It reads, death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness.
Right? Death is better, right, than continual sickness.
Right. You got to add context, because if
Right.
you read it that way, you're like, well, maybe she should kill herself then.
Right.
So in this form of fashion, it's like, you have people who are like terminally ill and they're suffering. They're going through a lot of pain and a lot of anguish. And for those circumstances, when a person transitions, you're like, you know what? It's good because they didn't need to go through much more pain, right? You're kind of happy that they're not suffering as much as, someone who just goes through dies in their sleep, or it's sudden and they don't have to go through it. So you rather just say, if this person is going to go through something, pull a plug, man. Don't allow them to continue to suffer that way, right? But in the context of what she was going through, she not only considered, what she was going through, but she had to consider her father, right? Being a quote unquote daddy's girl or whatever, she had to consider, like, if I did this, what would that leave my father? Because you read scriptures where it tells you in the Apocrypha that a father should marry off his daughter, which he tried 7 times, right? And this happened. So she's thinking that my dad is going through some pain with this, right? So it's keeping her going to say, I'm not going to do that because of him. Right. And let me pray to the Most High to give me more. So minister unto me so I can get through this.
Right. And go on. So let's move on. Verse 13. And say, take me out of the earth, that I may hear no more the reproach. Thou knowest, Lord, that I am pure from all sin with men. Okay. And that I never polluted my name. nor the name of my father in the land of my captivity. I am the only daughter of my father, neither have he any child to be his heirs, neither any near kinsman, nor any son of his alive, to whom I may keep myself for a wife. My seven husbands are already dead. And why should I live? But if it please not thee that I should die, command some regard to be had of me, and pity taken of me, that I hear no more reproach. So now she presented her case. Remember, when you are a citizen of Israel, you have the right to petition before the Most High to ask what's right of you as a citizen of Israel. So that's the beauty of having the commandments, because the Most High has the commandments. If you do what's right, you can petition to him, say, you tell me to do this, I did this. See the right here, she said, I never polluted myself, even when I was in the land of captivity. I served my time, I did as you please. So now I'm asking you this: if you don't want to take my life, or you don't think it's ready for me to take my life, find another option for me, so that reproach that's coming upon me, I can take it away. And that's just, if you feel like to the best of your ability, you've been doing your part, right? And outside of what you do in ignorance, you pray for the Most High to have mercy on you, right? But right here, you have the right to ask the Most High, and he will give you what your heart desire based on doing the right thing. But you can't be breaking all the laws and then you ask the Most High to give you stuff. It doesn't work that way. You have to come clean, and things that you mess up, that you mess up, and things that you've been doing right, say, mess up. Most I do this, I do that. So what's going on? Help me out. Help me out here. It's almost like when you in jail. I meant to say this earlier. You commit you commit a violation. Okay, you find guilty. You go and serve time. Now, as you get into your time, you didn't know that, jail time was so hard. You want to break out of jail. That's another violation. It's almost like you try to commit suicide and trying to escape the punishment or the captivity that you're in. That's another violation in itself. That's why the Most High said, do not do it. Let you go through your punishment, because you can go through it. After that, you're going to get reinstituted into Israel again to not keep doing the right thing. Like, that's why sometimes they have restitution. For those who come out of jail, you go to rehab so you can get rehabilitated into society again. So it's like it's the same thing. The Most High made those laws, and the world copy these things and apply it, but they don't do so much of a good job, because there's a lot of corruption and unjust verdict and judgment, miscalculated. So if it's not correct, there's a lot of corruption, manipulation of justice system. But in the Most High, it's like, yeah, listen, I said you're gonna be here for 400 years. You're gonna serve your 400 years. You can hold it and hop in. You gotta serve your time. That's right. So because I told you before, that's what's gonna happen. It's not like I didn't tell you. I tell you, here's what's gonna happen if you do this. Here's what's gonna happen if you don't do that. So you choose to do this, you're gonna serve your time. Every now and then, if you have good conduct, right, I may cut you some slack here and there, but you're still gonna serve your time. I make sure that instead of getting cheese and bread only in jail, every now and then you may get some chicken while you're in jail. So that's exactly what's going on with us here in captivity. Some of us, we in captivity, things may be not so much, we're not going, because the Most High cut us some slack because of good conduct. We try to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead,
reading again the first part of this 15th verse. Because again, the assumption before you get here was that she had to have done something worthy of this evil spirit being around her that's killing off her husband, right? And she starts off by saying she never polluted her name, nor the name of her father in the land of her captivity. Right. So she was an honest woman in that lifetime, that she was in her father's household. She never went out there and was cussing and this and that and acting all crazy out in the street to put an ill name on her, or to have that come back home and it be a reproach unto her father. I'm gonna read this in Ecclesiasticus chapter 22. Ecclesiasticus chapter 22 and verse 4. That's on page 83 in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus chapter 22 verse 4. It says, a wise daughter shall bring an inheritance to her husband, but she that liveth dishonestly is her father's heaviness. She that is bold dishonoreth both her father and her husband, but they shall both despise her. Right? So now you see a wise daughter and an ill-nurtured or wicked daughter or wife. She was not the evil or wicked one. She was the wise one based on what she described, how she's been living. So now one asks the question and says, well, what's going on? Why is this happening to her? Why she got this evil spirit or this dark cloud over her, right? You go into the book of Job and you ask the same question about Job, but it starts off whether he was a righteous and a perfect man, or upright and perfect individual, right? He wasn't one who was out there with an ill name. So sometimes these things will manifest themselves for a different reason. I'm going to read this in St. John chapter 9. St. John chapter 9, verses 1 to 4. Oh, that's what's going for. St. John chapter 9 and 1. It says, and as Yahushua, or Jesus in the English, passed by, he saw a man that was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? So the question that the disciples asked Yahushua, or Christ, who sinned, who transgressed the Most High's law for this punishment, this judgment to happen to this man, that he was born blind? Now, we all understand this. We kind of touched on this lightly in the class this evening as it pertains to regeneration, or as the world knows it, reincarnation, right? Because based on the question that they asked Yahushua, who did sin? There's an action that has to have happened in order for this judgment to have occurred. Did his parents sin, or did he sin for him to be born blind? The only way that man could have transgressed the Most High's laws would have had to have been in a previous life if he was born that way, right? So we touched on that lightly. We said we'll get into a little bit more deeply later on in another class. But the question is, someone had to have messed up. So either he did it or they did it. Which one was it, Christ? Verse 3, Yahushua answered, neither have this man sinned nor his parents, right? So right now, Christ cleared it up. He didn't do nothing wrong. They didn't do nothing wrong. So why was he born blind? It says, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. So sometimes the Most High will use some of his vessels that he created, man or woman, to manifest his power, to manifest his mercy, to manifest his might, to manifest his glory. These things have to happen. A man doesn't have to do something wrong. The Lord knows who is built to take this, to carry this cross. Job was built for it. This man was built for it. Sister Sarah in the scriptures, as we read, she's going to be built for it, right? But does it mean you don't get weak? Does it mean you don't, like, your knees buckle every now and again? Sure, your knees buckle every now and again. Sure, you get weak every now and again. That's why you do what the sister did. She prayed to the Most High. Most High, help me out here. I need help. When Yahushua was about to be led to the crucifixion, what did he do? He prayed to the Father for some help. If it be thy will, Father, not mine, but thy will. What did the Most High do? Send an angel to minister unto Christ on the earth. So this is an example for us to realize that, hey, Some of us are going to go through some of these things. We built for it. If you weak, if you get a little, doubt here and there, don't go off. Pray to the Most High continually. Fast sometimes. Do alms sometimes. These things go a long way to help you out in your journey. So there's many testimonies of things like this throughout the scriptures. For some of us who are, anointed to now go through those things, having done nothing wrong. Hey, you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one, brother. You ain't the only one, sister. So don't think yourself as being evil or something happened. Sometimes you just got to go through it so that the Lord can work through you.
Right. Right. And what Kahan mentioned, she presented herself before the Most High and present what she has been doing herself, like her record. She show up with her record. I did not, pollute myself, this, that, and the third. Now, at least I think I deserve a little better. But if it be your will, then, granted me my husband so I can take that away. So this is the advantage we have as being in a father and son relationship with the Most High as Israelite. The other nation can't do that.
Right.
See, that's the privilege that we have as being Israelites. So we can petition before the Most High because it's an S and it shall be given unto you. But how you ask, you use that as an example. She did the right thing. Then she came in and asked boldly with the Most High, using all these examples that she did right here. Present herself, not boastful. That's why she started she started the prayer with bless the name of the Most High. Thou art, forever, the judge. So get this out the way, so nobody get it twisted, because I'm about to make a request. So that somebody may not think I'm coming to make a request based on my boastful of what I've done that is right. I know the Most High, He's the one that set the rules. You're the one that judge forever, and I'm gonna present what I did based on what you tell me that I have to do. Then make my request from there.
No other nation can bring back the dead either.
No. Right. So let's move on. So finish up that chapter. In verse
14, right?
15? No, verse 16. Because we read that.
Right.
Verse 16. So the prayers of them both were heard before the majesty of the great God. And Raphael was sent to hear them both. Sometimes in the midst of a lot of people of Israel, you might think like everybody's doing wrong. So why not just go with the flow? Those two are singled out and being used as an example for us. Even though we may be in this land of captivity, everybody's going wrong. Don't think that the Most High don't have your eyes on you that's doing the right thing. Right? So in the midst of all of us going astray, some of us might be doing, they were doing their thing in the land of captivity, things like that, going against the law. They say everybody, when you're in Rome, do as Rome do. So that's why around Nineveh, around this time, our people just go with the flow. That's why Jonah, he left. He said, "No, I ain't going to these people. They going crazy, and you send me to deliver them. I didn't make them, so they let them save themselves." But still, the Most High had, him go back the way He wants him to go, because He had His plan for him. But out of all the people that probably were going astray, him and her going to similar situation, going to reproach, but they exemplify righteousness, and they single out and being put in the book right here that we can use as an example. Right? So just don't follow the majority to do evil, the multitude to do evil. Just do the right thing.
So God heard the prayer of the daughter and the father.
Yeah. Not Tobias. You heard the prayer of Tobias, right? Tobit, Tobias the son, right? Father, yeah. And now you're gonna see how the Most High gonna bridge the gap between two people who are not related by blood, right? Meaning, biologically, but yet they will be coming together, right, as heirs of the same kingdom, right? Because they are the same people. Now I'm talking about like closely, very closely related in terms of knowing each other, because they are of the same nation, right? I mean, same people. We in the same people, but they're gonna be as we read on, we're gonna find out. The way I'm trying to explain it, maybe it may not come out correctly.
Oh, and you referenced Exodus 23 and 2.
Exodus 23 and 2. Okay, come on.
And I referenced Luke 22, 42 and 43.
Luke 22?
Luke 22,
42 and 20.
40, verses 42 and 43, where Christ had the angel come to strengthen him when he was going through his trials and tribulations.
Go ahead. All right, so verse 16 says, so the prayers of them both were heard before the majesty of the great God. Right, so see right here, it says that the prayer of them both were heard to the majesty. So how do you see it right here? When it says were heard before the majesty, you remember I said both of them petition, like in the court system, in the governmental setup, they petition to the Most High. Right here, it's the majesty of the Most High, magistrate of the Most High before the court system.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? I'm taking you on your commandments, on your rules, and I know the rights, so I'm going to petition to you, but it's prayer. Prayer is communication. You talk to the Most High, right, based on what you're asking the Most High, right, or based on the praises that you're giving the Most High. But in this point right here, they're making petition, they're making requests to the Most High based on the situation that's going on. So now they're looking for justice in their situation, right? So they're looking for justice, so they petition before the Most High, then before the magistrate or the majesty of the Most High.
And they got the justice.
So we're gonna find out.
Okay.
Keep in mind, people use the scriptures in the Bible as a religious book. It is not a religious book. It's a book of a kingdom commandment for the citizens to know how to live and know how to go before their government, right, to get what they deserve. That's pretty much what the Bible is about for Israel, right? So we know what the kingdom requires of us, right? What is required of us, and what we're gonna get if we follow the rules and regulations, the justice that we're gonna get.
Yeah, just to add more clarity to the religious part, because the word is in the scriptures, right? As far as for religion,
true religion, right?
Right,
It said true religion,
right? The true, yeah, and book that's good, right? True religion is really dealing with the laws, statutes, commandments, the principles, the testimonies that you find in the Bible. When you get into Christianity or Catholicism or these other religions and doctrines, right? Like Paul speaks about another Jesus and another spirit.
Right.
They carry other principles that's not associated with the scriptures.
Right.
So when people look, it's like, people look and view what it is that we're teaching because we have the Bible. They just think of it in the same capacity as everything else.
Right.
And it's not like everything else.
Right.
So that's kind of what you mentioned, was like, this is not like that. We're not in a religion. We're not like how they do it.
Right.
This is all based upon the principles of the Most High by which we abide by and we follow.
Right. Like I usually put it, this is a constitution. The Bible is our constitution for the kingdom. The kingdom Most High's constitution for his people. Right.
For
what
happened to them, what happened to you, this is what you use to get out of it.
Right. So when we put it in the context of a constitutional book, a law book for the people, you think about, for example, the Constitution of the United States, which has everything that has to do with how the government of the United States should operate in regard to his citizens and his people, and how things should be conducted, right? All the laws and everything should be based on the Constitution. With Israel, this is our Constitution, right? How to deal with the land, how to deal with people, how to deal with government, how to deal with high officials, everything is pretty much right here, right? But it's for specific people. Now you're gonna have other people that you find in this book. Their name is in this book, and the book tells you how to deal in regard to these people around them, right? As a people of the kingdom, you're gonna be around other people. Here's how you deal around them. Here's how you should treat them, right? And they gotta use you as an example in your kingdom because it's your kingdom. That's how they gotta look at you, right, as an example, right? So that's pretty much what it's all about, right? So if we take it like that, as opposed to how the Christianity puts it, then we'll have a better understanding if we have the right concept and approach on how we use the scriptures. What are we doing here today? We're learning about our Constitution because we lost everything. We lost the law. You come here, we come here into a class where the Most High said, get back to your law, statutes, and commandments that I gave you of what you're supposed to be keeping in my kingdom. Right?
So we're not in church, we're in law school, right?
We're in law school.
And right now we're going through some case law, right?
Right.
One of my favorite verses, 2 Timothy 3:16.
2 Timothy.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16. It says, all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine. As you're saying, it's like our Constitution, our law, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. So again, like Yakazak Allah put in there, the Bible belongs to us. This is our Constitution. This is our law. All right. We are groomed to be lawyers, doctors in the spirit form. Right. We're groomed to be a lot of different professions as we apply what we read in the scriptures. Right. Some of us are going to be, when you speak of doctor, you could be a doctor mentally, even physically. Right. Because the scripture speaks about being able to use the herbs that come from the earth. That'll draw the spirit for you to go and do that. So we are everything, or being groomed to be everything in this earth, but it's us, right? And that's what this is allowing us to do.
Okay. All right, so let's move on, finishing up in verse 17 again. It says, and Raphael was sent to heal them both. That is, to scale away the whiteness of Tobit's eyes, and to give Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, for a wife to Tobias, the son of Tobit, and to bind Asmodeus, the evil spirit. Right? Because she belonged to Tobias by right. You see right here? You know your rights, it being by right. Why is it by right? Because you're going to find out. Of inheritance, because by right of inheritance. The self same time came Tobit home and entered into his house. And Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, came down from her upper chamber. So now let's read some scriptures pertaining to that, right? When he says, let's go to, let me see, 1 second. Because Sarah was the one closest eligible relative to marry, Tobias, Tobit's son, right? By rights stating on the law, right? By law. So let's get that real quick.
So we said that they're not related. That's why I was.
Right.
Yeah,
That's always.
by right. So yeah. Let's get that. Give me 1 second while I look up that verse real quick.
So we talked about that on Tuesday a little bit too, towards the end of the Tuesday class. As far as the tongues, we're talking about tongues as a topic, and then talking about they had different nations were separated by tongues, and the Most High wanted every nation, including Israel, to have their inheritance.
Okay, let's go to Genesis. Genesis 24 and verse 4. Genesis 24 and verse 4. Kahanabiya, you could read that once you have it.
24 and what?
24 and verse 4.
Genesis 24 and 4. But thou shalt go into my country, into my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac.
We're going to read on.
And the servant said unto him, peradventure the women will not be willing to follow me into this land.
Right. So again, we want to hone in on how a son. Read it again. Read it again. What up top?
But thou shalt go into my country, into my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac.
Right. So you got to go to your kindred. Your kindreds are people of your own. All right. So that's how Tobias got a wife from, because he was the one closely related or eligible as a to marry her. Right. And also you can read Ruth chapter 3 verse 9 to 12.
Say that again.
Ruth.
Leave the world behind.
And also you see that how Raphael subdued the evil spirit. Also in that when we read in 17, the evil spirit was able to subdue by Raphael. So it takes the spirit of Raphael to subdue the spirit of wrath that was killing the husbands. All right, so Ruth 3 and 9 to 12. Somebody could read that.
Good question. You said the judges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ruth chapter 9. You said what? Ruth what?
Chapter 3, verse 9 to 12.
3 verse 9. It says, and he said, who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thy handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman.
Right. A near kinsman. Down to 12.
Verse 10, and he said, blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast shown more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning, inasmuch as thou follow not young men, whether poor or rich. And now, my daughter, fear not. I will do to thee all that thou requirest. All the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman. And now it is true that I am thy near kinsman, howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I.
Right. But you see the similarities.
Ruth what again?
Ruth chapter 3, verse 9 to 12. So you can see the similarities between her and Sarah in the story that we're reading right here. She did not follow after the men, rich or poor. She does, she conduct herself righteously. She conducted herself righteously, similar to how Sarah did.
Let me ask this question. So you saying it's okay other to marry outside of Israel, other than Israel? And because I read before in scriptures, the Israel men married foreigners, and he had to take the woman back. I forget which one it was, but Israel had married outside women, they had to take the woman back. I can't, if I Google it, I might be able to find it, but Israel had married women outside of Israel, and they were told to take the women back.
Mm-hmm.
You might be talking about in the book of Nehemiah, where during the time of Ezra,
Mm-hmm.
and they were coming to rebuild the city, and they found that they had the wives of these men who was heathen, that the children, they couldn't speak the language, they didn't know anything, so it was going to be like a thorn in the side. So what Ezra and them did was, listen, these women and the children got to depart, they got to leave, they got to be separated, because now what we were trying to build was something holy. Now to have all that confusion going on, that would have been, it would have kind of slowed down progress. But in the law, especially when you start from Deuteronomy 7, the Most High doesn't want us to deal with the wives or the sons of other nations as far as for marrying with our children. And that also became a thorn for some men that did that when you read throughout the scriptures. The most prominent is King Solomon, right? He had concubines and wives of the other nations, and it caused them to now persuade him to set up their groves and altars and begin to set up forms of worship. And then that was used as a point of reference, as a testimony to say, hey, even in Nehemiah, don't you see what happened with Solomon? What Solomon did caused us to err. Like, why are y'all doing the same thing? So those things are used as a testimony of why we should avoid doing that. But you have prominent men like King Solomon, like Moses, right, who did that, right? But Most High uses a testimony going forward.
So it's good to be among your own.
Right. It's going to, as we read through the book of Tobit, it's going to even make it more plain on that note.
They won't err from the law.
Right.
Because they know the law is for them.
Right.
For the mother nation.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna transition from chapter 3.
Chapter 3 of Ruth.
To chapter 4.
Or you back to Tobit again?
Yes.
Chapter 3.
We're going to chapter 4.
4. Oh, okay. So this is chapter 2 here. Oh, okay. Chapter 2. Let me ask you a question. What's the name of this topic here that y'all kind of deal with? What's the name topic?
The topic is pretty much, we read 2 chapters every Sabbath day. We're in the book of Tobit. So whatever comes within those chapters is what we're going to kind of go through with a fine-tooth comb. So it's not like regular class where we might go through eye for an eye, we might go through, certain specific topics. This one is catered to whatever the chapters are for each Sabbath service. That's what the lesson is. Okay. But I know like Kahan Nabiyah and El Zaquan, they'll make a nice title for it, like, summation of the chapters. But sometimes.
So if you marry a foreigner, you should take her back, right? Is that what you're saying? If you marry a foreigner, you should take her back.
No, that's not what we're saying.
Oh.
That's a topic we're gonna touch on it. So let's go to Tobit, and then maybe after class we may go into this. Okay. All right. So in Tobit, and also you were asking for title. if it's like the Tobit, it's more like Tobit prayer for death. And he was asking for death, right?
Okay.
And in case of Sarah, you could put it as Sarah also praying for death, also. Yeah, praying for death to take him, and then can take it from there. And then you see prayers being answered. Different sections of you can even do it yourself. Different section of what we're about to read. As you start taking the notes, you put say prayers being answered, both for Sarah and Tobit.
That makes sense.
It's in the title. You just put -4 for the YouTube video title.
Tobit
above, top. Just put 3-4 for the YouTube video. Not the live stream, but see up there where the duck is.
Okay.
Up more. You just change it to -4.
Oh, okay.
So you remember, don't forget the later.
Do y'all do marriage ceremonies here, or do y'all know of them, or?
How do I get
Click edit on the right side.
Like getting married?
No, I'm just asking a question.
It depends on it. We could preside over one if somebody wants to do it. I had a ceremony.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
you did?
Edit right here.
You did it?
Keep passing.
No,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Was rings presented, certificate, and all that?
No, 3-4.
Okay.
It's the same video.
So did he have to qualify to do it, or?
Some people, depending on, easily qualified to marry, and then others will just go to the city hall to get it done. And just have a ceremony.
Oh, I got you.
All right. So what we're gonna get into right here is parent instructions. So that's Tobit instructions in chapter 4. All right, so let's start it. Let's start in verse 4, and it reads, "In that day, Tobit remembered the money which he had committed to Gobiah and wages of Media." All right, so when you read in previous chapter, because of Tobit's position, he used to be like a buyer. He used to go and buy stuff for working in the government over there. He used to be a buyer. They could send him out to buy things. Okay. So he used to also buy things for himself and save stuff for himself, right? So now he had somebody that he trusted with his goods to save for him, like put it into a savings. So he was he was the person that hold his money for him.
I got you.
Right. So now as his son is getting married now, right, to Sarah, he remember the money that he had in saving.
And what was his son name? Named after dad?
Tobias.
He was named after his father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can just read Tobit 1-14 for that.
Right. Tobit 1-14 is the reference of what I just said here. And it says, "In that day, Tobit yes, in that day, Tobit remembered the money which he had committed to Gobiah in wages of Media, and said with himself, I have wished for death. Wherefore do I not call for my son's Tobias, that I may signify to him of the money before I die." So now that he prayed the Most High to take over his life, it might come to pass, because sometimes they say when you ask, you shall find, right? He says, you know what? Before that happens, the money that I have with this man, that I confided with this man to save for me, why don't I go get that money or send to get that money and sign over the asset to him, right? And in verse 3, and when he had called him, he said, my son, when I am dead, bury me, and despise not thy mother. So those are the instructions that he's given his son. Despise not thy mother, but honor her all the days of thy life. Honor thy father and thy mother, right? And do that which please her, and grieve her not. Don't give her too much trouble, right? Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee when thou was in her womb, because she carried him and pain and suffering and things like that. So she went through it for him. And when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. Okay. So now, for verse 3, you could write down what we just mentioned: honor thy father, thy mother. Exodus 20 and 12.
I knew that.
You got that, right? Proverbs 23 and 22. Proverbs 23 and verse 22.
Proverbs 20.
23 and verse 22.
And the other one was Exodus.
Exodus 20 and 12. All right, Proverbs 23 and 22. And Ecclesiasticus 7 and 27.
Is that Ecclesiastes?
Ecclesiasticus,
That's in
the Apocrypha.
27 and 28.
Yeah, 27 and 28. And you could read that if you don't mind. Gone, Samar.
Which one? Ecclesiasticus?
Gone.
This is this is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 7 and verses 27 and 28. Again, it's Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 7, verses 27 and 28. And it reads, honor thy father with thy whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that thou wast begotten of them, and how canst thou recompense them the things that they have done for thee?
Right. All right, verse 5 now in Tobit, chapter 4 and verse 5. My son, be mindful of the Lord our power or our God all thy days. I'll read it again. My son, be mindful of the Lord our God all thy days, and let not thy will be set to sin. Right? Let not thy will be set to sin, or to transgress his commandments. Do uprightly all thy life long, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness. So that's the key. Right? Verse 6. For if thou deal truly, thy doings shall prosperously succeed to thee, and to all them that live justly. So Joshua 1 and 8. Joshua 1 and 8. Link with verse 6. So you can see it's the same thing that we read in book that they separated from the Apocrypha, it's the same thing that we're reading now, which means all those commandments say the same and they pass down. It's always been the same thing. Right? It's always been the same thing. From generation to generation, they all saying the same thing. Right? They live, different people live in different time period, but still they do the same thing. They follow the same thing. They pass it down and read the same thing. Right? In different generations. Verse 7. Let me see. For verse 6, you can write down John 3:21. St. John 3:21.
Is that the same?
Yeah, let me make sure. That's what it is. Yep, St. John 3:21.
You gonna read that now?
Yes, we could read that. Yes, come. If you can read that, can you read that?
Yeah.
Tyrone, yeah.
What is his name?
Paqad. Paqad. P-A-Q-A-D. Paqad. Dot. Paqad.
D at the end.
D at the end.
P-A-Q-A-D.
I ain't going with nothing.
All right, we'll practice it afterward.
Okay. St. John 3.
In verse 21.
St. John 3 and 21. But he that does truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God.
All right, yeah, right there. It's the same thing of what we just read here.
Right.
Is he's telling him, for if thou deal truly, thy doing shall prosperously succeed to thee. It's the same thing, right? If you live the truth, then your work will come out, right? So it says prosperously will come out as it's supposed to, because if you live the truth, then your work, right, is a manifestation of living out the truth. So people will see it, right? So the end to all them that live justly. So everybody that does the same is likewise, they will see the same thing. Okay, so that's John 3:21. Also, Ephesians 4:15. Kahanabia, you could read that. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 15.
4:14, right?
4:15, Ephesians.
Ephesians 4:15. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Christ.
Right. Right. So if we live in truth, then we will grow. And as we grow, we pretty much exemplify Christ, who is the head. So which means when we read that, you know, the light shall come out, the light is Christ. Right. So when it says the light will shine, meaning Christ will shine. Because as we live the truth, we can, you know, the example of Christ is the light. You see what I'm saying? It's like no matter what we do, we exemplify or we show the head, who is Christ. Christ is the head. So as we live in truth, whatever comes out, the example of it or the outcome of it is pretty much make the Most High shine, make Christ shine.
Walking in light.
Right, walking in light, walking in the sight of Christ. Right, using Christ as an example. In the case, the word. Right. If we follow the word, what the commandments, it's almost like we follow. If it's not almost, we follow in Christ because He is the word, He is the truth, He is the light. Right.
You do Joshua 1 and 8. Did you say Joshua 1?
Joshua 1 and 8. Yeah.
Oh, you
You could pull that as well. Joshua 1 and 8. You could read that once you have it. So for the children of Israel, the prerequisite to succeed in anything, wherever we go, in any captivity or wherever we go around this earth, keeping the law is what's going to make us succeed. It's not getting the money first. Seek ye first the kingdom.
And all these things we added unto.
And what is seeking the kingdom? The word.
Right.
Seeking the kingdom and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So seeking the word and apply it, then everything else will fall into place. But not seeking the money first. Right. Seeking the word first. Then with the word, we will find the way to make the money and have the money work for you, as opposed to the other way around.
Because if you notice, Christ didn't have no money.
Right. Christ didn't have any money, but Christ have everything.
Yeah, right.
You see? Because
you notice after all his ceremonies, he never asked for no money.
Because he have everything. So why would I ask for everything that I have?
Yeah, but you go to these churches now, right? Look at the $100 line, $50 line, $20 line, $5 line.
Right.
I ain't never heard Christ ask for no money.
That's a whole different class again with that.
Right.
It's,
I got Joshua. Ready for me? Joshua 1
in verse 8.
In verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth.
Stop right there. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth. What does that mean to you?
It should always be there.
Right. And how it stay in your mouth? Do you keep walking around and say John, Jeremiah, Jeremiah, Isaiah? Yeah.
No, it's right here. It's within here, right here.
Right, because this should not come out of your mouth, because out of the abundance of the mind, the mouth speak. Right, because nothing comes out of your mouth just haphazardly like that. It starts right here. So once the word is there, what you say and do, right? That's an example of a manifestation of the word. Right. So this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. Read on.
But thou shalt meditate therein day and night, and that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
Right.
For then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
Right. So once you have the word of the law in your mind, then all the actions that you're gonna take, you apply it. Next thing you know, everything follows. Observe and do them, then everything else follows. And every action that we're gonna take, whether it's family, managing the family, managing a business, right? Managing part of the community, become part of government, become part of an association, become the head in any organization. Anything that you do, apply the scriptures, and everything else is gonna follow. How we eat, what we put on, what we drink, all should be done in the glory of the Most High, which is the law. So all that is scripture, right? All right, that's it on that. So let's move.
To the Apocrypha, right?
Come on. Back to the Apocrypha. Now we at verse 7. where it says, give alms of thy substance. And when thou givest alms, let not thy eyes be envious, neither turn thy face from any poor in the face of God. In the face of God shall not be turned away from thee. So now that's a very key one too right here. Give alms of thy substance. What is your substance? Right? Your substance is whatever you have.
Your deeds.
Yeah, give alms of thy substance. Your substance is whatever you have, whether it's your time, right? Whether it's most importantly the word, wisdom, you gotta share it. Right? You gotta share it. Examples of righteousness, you gotta share it around so that people can see it and they can copy it and replicate it and be good as well, following the scriptures. Right? Something in money, you have money in your substance, give some to the poor. If you have time, you can dedicate your time. Somebody has money, let's go somewhere because I have the time. You have the money, I have the time, let's put it together. Let's go do some good deeds.
I believe in that, but like Christ says, go to the lost sheep to the house of Israel.
Right, to the lost, that's exactly what we're talking about.
That, it would only be there.
It would only be there.
Nowhere else.
Right.
That's just it.
Right. Because again, like we were saying, this is us. This is speaking in regard to Israel, not everybody. Remember, this is our constitution, how we should live within our people. Right? It so happen we might be around some heathen, but still we got to exemplify this.
Right.
All right. It says, verse 8, and I have some scriptures link up for this one too in verse 7. Proverb 19 and verse 17. Proverb 19, we got in regards to alms. It's very important.
Proverb 19, 17, right?
Come. And also Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verse 1 to 6. This one we're gonna read this one. Kahanabiya, if you don't mind, Bible Kushar. You can read that. Ecclesiasticus chapter 4, verse 1 to 6.
Ecclesiastes 4 verses chapter 12, right?
Mm-hmm. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Ecclesiasticus 4.
I'm just saying that because we should understand who the subject is. They appear to be contradictory, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So Ecclesiasticus chapter 4 and verse 1, it says, my son, defraud not the poor of his living, and make not the needy eyes to wait long.
Mm-hmm.
2, make not a hungry soul sorrowful, neither provoke a man in his distress.
Mm-hmm.
3, add not more trouble to an heart that is vexed, and defer not to give to him that is in need.
Right.
4, reject not the supplication of the afflicted, neither turn away thy face from a poor man.
Right. Okay. So those are instructions that we learn, right? And we pass it down. And it's all throughout the scriptures. So now let's go to go down to 6. Mm-hmm.
5, turn not away thine eye from the needy, and give him none occasion to curse thee.
Mm-hmm.
6, for if he curse thee in the bitterness of his soul, his prayer shall be heard of him that made him.
Right, because what happened is if he hurt thee, he petitioned against you, that's a right that he has, because that's his right as a poor person to petition. And then if he go to magistrate against you, then justice got to be served of him. Right, so even the poor has right as well in our kingdom. Right, the poor of our people, right, they have rights. Everybody has right in our kingdom. So which means that's a justice that's balanced. Right, from the rich to the poor, justice must be served.
I agree with that.
Right? So now we went to the Apocrypha. So let's go back to the Bible. Let's go to Luke 14 and 13. Luke chapter 14 and verse 13. Go on to Mark. You want to read that for us?
Luke chapter 14 and verse 13. For when thou makest a feast, call the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind, and thou shalt be blessed, for they cannot recompense thee, but thou shalt be recompensed at the resurrection of the just.
Right. So you got to serve the poor, but don't look for them to give you back because they cannot give you back. Because what you just did, it's an investment. Your reward is when Yahushua makes his second coming. So you will be rewarded. So that's investment. That's a spiritual investment, which will convert into spiritual and material, physical investment on earth when Yahushua makes his second coming. No, you're not looking for reward from them now, but it's inevitable. It's inherent that when you do good deed, then you're gonna get something, even if you don't look for it. But that's the Lord. That's how it works. You're not even looking for it.
Yeah, I understand.
Right. So now let's check this out in because it's like in a law that's balanced. That's the way it works. There's no way around it. You know, you do good in the kingdom, you get good. Right. So that's how it works. There's no cheating you out. You know, you make some investment. Next thing you know, you got robbed.
Yeah.
Right? They tell you, man, everything went belly up, and you screwed. But and that's where it says, put not your investment here when muffin and thing corrupt and thief come and break. Right? But these kind of investment, that's what you should make, because that investment is sure. That's insurance. It's secure. Right? That's secure. That's that's foolproof. There's no worry about if you're gonna lose it or whatnot. That's pretty much that's set in stone.
Yeah. Investment and spiritual investment.
Right. The spiritual investment, if you understand what you're doing,
right,
not looking for them to give you, but you look for Yahushua and at his second coming, what is gonna give you. Because the book gonna be open, all the record of what you did, good or bad, is gonna be there. You say you did this. Okay, this based on our accounting, having the system, here's what you deserve right here. This is what you're gonna get.
Like I say, if you do the work for God, he'll pay you. If you do the work for man, he'll pay you. It's under that kind of order there, people want to get paid and do for God, and he's gonna take care of that for you.
Right, and sometimes he rewards you even here.
Right.
We reward you even here, and then some when in the kingdom. Right, but the ultimate, sometimes it gives you the interest. Now you eat off your interest here. Right. The principle add up, compounded is in the kingdom.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? All right, so
like the metaphor.
yeah. But I mean, we gotta relate, right?
Right.
Let's go to 1 John chapter 3:17. 1 John. Same verse 7. I'll read this one. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 17. And it reads,
Wait, First John 3.
1 John chapter 3 in verse 17. And it reads,
I got you.
and it reads, but whoso have this world's good, right? This world's good, right? Meaning, you know, if you're well-to-do, you got some substance, some cash, right? You have some assets, right? It says goods, and CF is brother have need and shut up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? Right? Because your brother and your kinsman is a reflection of you. We are connected. So if you don't do good by him, where's the love? I mean, it's easier said than done.
Right.
Sometimes we gotta think about these things.
Right.
You know, sometimes we gotta really, really think about these things. Because sometimes we do it in ignorance.
We do.
You know, because our brother out there, they are a reflection. Even though they sinning, they out there, they are a reflection. This is us out there sinning. So whatever we could do, you know, to see if we can turn them around based on the Most High's will, of course, we got to do it. You know, if it's within our power, it's within our reach. Because this is us. It's like we're not disconnected from those poor people out there who are sinning, just like, you know, we were in the world and sinning.
Right. I always said if I was ever hit it big, I'm going just after my own, from state to state.
Right.
To set up some kind of little.
Right. Even not even set it big. You can start small. You can do a little small because what happened is with little small comes big things. That this is like an exercise of when you hit big to see what you're gonna do. Because usually some of us would say, "Man, I want to wait when I hit big." Because if we're not comfortable doing with the little that we have in our little way, when we hit big, we ain't gonna do a God-on thing because we never practice. We don't have that as a practice, right? But if we have it out of small, as for example, you have that woman who had only a penny. That's all she had. She did it small. But those who have big money, they have it. They can give, right? But she did it the heart that she has to do it. We have, I mean, when we do it at a small stage, it shows how much we really believe in what we're doing. Because you don't really have it. You're struggling. But still, you find out of the little bit that you have to do it anyway. So it's not even, it doesn't become about the thing that you're doing. It's the mindset that you're doing it with the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much giving, it's how you give and the purpose of how you giving, the spirit behind why you give. Some people just go out there, they just give, but they have no spirit behind it. They give it because they can.
Well, you have a better spirit when you have this word in you.
Exactly.
So when this word is in you, that's why I say if I hit it big, that's what I would do.
Exactly.
And I could still do that being small, but I would rather shoot for the stars or the moon.
Absolutely.
And then
absolutely. Because you know, sometimes when you have, let's say, start helping people out, here's how in my experience, how it works. You have small things, just like the parable, then you multiply it by doing good. Right. Man, the Most High said, here's a good steward. Now let me add on to what he has and give him more. Right? And then you give more because you're gonna be doing more. You had it big. Headed big is not gonna be a difference to you because whether you had it small, you had it big, you're still gonna be doing the same thing, except you're gonna be doing on a higher level.
Okay, I agree with that.
That's the power of the tenth, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the fifth in some cases, right? That we give.
Right.
And I always talk to you about that kind of, given your business of doing taxes and things like that. Hypothetically, right? If they restructure the tax code, they said, look, off the top, 10%, everybody, individuals, corporations, trusts, everyone 10%, and you want to do less, we'll incentivize it based on, whatever else you want to do, whatever your business or profession is, however you can like contribute to society, fix infrastructure, build roads, hospitals, schools, you'll get tax liability removed, right? Just imagine what that would do to the deficit just in 1 year. Everyone paid 10%, including the 1%, the 1% and 1%, did 10%.
And Ben Carson would do that?
Yeah, he was talking, yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, the thing is, the thing is not so much the 10% per se, is who's managing the 10%. Because people, they get money, it's just the corruption. Is whoever's managing whatever, is entrusted in him. So that's why the Most High would say, see, this guy, he's not doing anything. But this guy, he has this, I'm going to give him 50 more. Whoever had, I'm going to take it from him because he's not doing anything with it. He's not multiplying it. He's not working accordingly. He's not putting here, helping those there. I'm managing this. He's not managing anything. As a matter of fact, he just live it there. Right? You know what? Let me take it from him because this guy's doing such a great job. Let me give him more. So it's not so much the money itself, it's management corruption.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the 1% have techniques to not do anything. That's what I'm getting at. They don't even do a fraction of that 10% when it comes to tax liability.
Yeah, I remember years ago they had a thing on the news or some kind of expose on how government misuses money and what the lobbyists, when they go to Congress and they want to lobby for certain money, how some of them are just stupid. And it was a Edomite dude who was going through like the top 5 that he found. I remember one of them was that someone came to Congress and lobbied to get millions of dollars so that they can set up a school to teach prostitutes in Thailand how to speak English. And they got it.
Yeah.
So, when people go and they soliciting, it's like, hey, they need to know how to speak the language if you're going to solicit. It wasn't like money for like just people in Thailand. It was specifically for prostitutes, for sex workers. And they got it.
They got it, right?
He was exposing some of the fallacies in what government under the covers allow for the lobbyists and what goes and how the taxpayers' money is being used.
Right. And on the flip side, there was a bill in Congress to incentivize people who exercise and eat healthy. The Cancer Society blocked it. Just imagine that. They blocked it to incentivize people, right, that you exercise and you trying to eat healthy and give them a break or something like that. They went and blocked it. The reason why they block it, if the people start exercise and being healthy, they're not getting cancer. So that's it. A lot of them won't make the money or that they're making. They won't banking as much as they're making, so they kill it. So here we are, and for a prostitute, they allow it to go.
But I hear you though, kind of as far as the misappropriation.
Yeah, misappropriation of funds.
But for the money that they actually do it, but then just just for the money that they could be given, with the higher you go, they can, say, oh, our headquarters is here, but then that headquarters is founded somewhere in the island, which is then founded somewhere in Europe, which is then founded somewhere here, where it's like zero tax liability.
Right.
It's like, what?
Yeah, if you go deep down into the system, the money system, the way it's set up, the whole infrastructure for business, it's all embedded in corruption. It's like the corruption is built in it, and it's based on politics of the many. It's like, if I'm gonna steal 5 cents, I steal 5 cents across the whole nation, right? And what I do is I give a little bit to a lobbyist and few Congress people. I put that in there as expenses. So I know I got to pay this guy $5 million or $2 million, $12 million. But imagine I'm gonna have him pass a law on the whole population, where I collect 25 cents on whatever I'm selling, right? 25 cents off the cost of population. So what if I corrupt him and give him 12 million? To one time, but I'm gonna do it through how many years I'm gonna be selling that product. So it's corruption, and then selling the masses, at the for a few $1 million. All right, so let's move on in verse 8. Verse 9 now. For thou layest up a good treasure for thyself against the day of necessity. Right? That's what we were saying right here, where it says, let me read verse 8 again. If thou hast abundance, give alms accordingly. If thou have but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little. You see that? If you have a lot, you give according to what you have. If you have a little, you give according to the little that you have. So meaning the practice of giving become embedded in you, whether big or small. It's about the practice.
10% goes out the window then. Is that what you're saying?
Now this is talking about alms. The 10% is a law.
What do you mean by alms?
Alms is when you give based on what you want to give, based on your substance, based on what you can give. Not in the church. A brother that another brother you give. Let's say if you have $20, right? That $20 is what is disposable to you. You already done take care of your bills, right? That's disposable to you. It's $20. What if you give $2 out of it? You know what I'm saying? That's $2 you can have. But what if you have 200? You give 20 out of it. Disposable. I'm not talking about money that's tied up that you got to pay bills. That's tied up. That's not tied up. Disposable income. You give 20. What if you have 2,000? You give 200. Right? So what if you have 10,000? Right? You give according to what you can. If your bills are taken care of, then you have some money left over. Don't be afraid to give out of the 20 that you have.
But you're saying give where? To those in need?
To those in need.
Okay.
Those in need. Okay.
So you gonna finish the rest of this chapter or?
Yeah, we almost done.
Okay.
And it says, for thou layest up good treasure for thyself against days of necessity, because thy arm to deliver from death, because that arms do deliver from death, and suffer not to come into darkness. Okay. For arm is a good gift unto all that give, to all that give it in the sight of the Mosai. Right, so it's a good practice to give. Matthew 6:20 and 21. Right, Matthew 6:20 and 21. Let me read that real fast. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 20 reads, Matthew 6 and 20 reads, but lay up for yourself treasure in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. It's foolproof. Right? It's foolproof. When you do that, you lay up treasures for yourself in heaven. Okay. And 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. That's very important right here too. Yahushua mentioned that right here. It says, for where your heart, your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So which means if you have a lot of money in the bank, right? You're constantly thinking about, man, I hope this bank don't, they don't break into the bank because I got 5 millions in that bank. I hope, the banking system don't go down. So every day and night, that's what you're thinking about because you have $5 million there, right? But man, if you have your money in assets in securities like stocks, man, I hope the market don't crash. So day and night you can sleep because you have a lot vested there, right? Man, let's go out. Nah, man, I gotta watch this, man, because you know, because where your treasure is, there's your mind is, there's your heart. But if your treasure is in the Most High's, you ain't got to worry about it being stolen. You know it's sure, it's secure. Hey, you go about your day, keep doing more arms because you ain't got to worry about your return on investment. That's secure. That's set.
Yeah, when you cut through it yourself, right? When you get the scheme and get all your stuff, you're always stressed out looking for the next schemer who can try and get you.
Right.
Because you got it. The next guy's gonna try to get it too.
Right.
Conniving way.
Right. And when we say in heaven, I'm not talking about
within you.
right. I'm not talking about up there in the space and things like that. When I say, because usually people use that and manipulate people into when they said, man, just do it. The Most High will give you. It's in heaven.
Yeah,
It's in heaven. In heaven it's secure in spiritually. You understand what you're doing, right? You understand what you're doing, and when Yahushua makes his second coming, eventually you're gonna get everything that you. And also, even here, you do a thing spiritually, you can get some return on investment, even right here, because the purpose of why you're doing it is not for that. You may find yourself in the jam. Next thing you know, you do this, man, you come to money, right? Because of how you deal, your mannerism, how you talk to people. Somebody gonna, one things lead to another. The Most I send somebody else your way, right? Because of how you handle the law, how you deal with the law, right? It's not like somewhere in heaven the money is like they teach in Christian church, right? And
Matthew 6:20 links with what now?
Matthew 6:20 with 9 verse 9, 6:20 and 21.
You just read it, right?
Okay, so let's go to 11th now. No, 10. Let's go to verse 10.
You say it, too.
Past 10. So we are 11. It says in 12. Now he's giving advice in dealing with unrighteous or unruly women. Be aware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife. A strange woman is a woman that is not of your nation. Just like they said, Solomon had strange wives. Okay. Strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribes. For we are the children of the prophets. Right? So he's passing down, say, we are a great people. We are the people of the book. That's pretty much what he's telling them. Right? We are the people of the book. We are the prophets. And then he's mentioned names here: Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. So when they bless in their children, their seed shall inherit the land. Is one thing lead to the other. You teach your children the law, they pass it down to their own children. They pass the tradition down to their own children. That's how you bless and you inherit the kingdom. Sort of like even even when the kids grow up, it's more than likely if you grow up in a rich family, subliminally you have been conditioned in that family 9 times out of 10 to be rich, even though you may be stupid and anything else. Why? Because the culture, the tradition is passed down. It's become second nature. You know how to touch this and touch that and touch this and boom. Whereas people struggle because they have a different programming, because they have not been brought up in that culture, in that environment, in that tradition. Right? So that's why if you pass it down, you pass it down, you pass it down, that's how you inherit the land. The law, statutes, and commandments, tradition, right? And everything that we have, inheritance, we pass it down. Next thing you know, that's how Esau, cornered the market.
Yeah, they got their own, we call it the Ban Matazawab, right? Fake Jews call it the Bar Mitzvah.
Right.
They got their own little test at 12, 13 years old, where kids by that time, sometimes even earlier, they know what to say, what not to say, how to deal when it comes to other nationalities, right? What to talk about, what not to talk about, what to not talk about. Like you said, just through watching older siblings, parents, uncles, aunties,
Right. As little kids, they've been bred.
They already understand the power dynamic.
Exactly.
Who can do what? Who calls what shot?
So that's the advice right here. And this is us. We're supposed to be the one running the earth right now if we were to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and keeping those statutes, keeping the laws. Right? And we would have been those people on a high level calling themselves Jews, and they are not the Jews. Supposedly, they're supposed to be the one wealthy. Right? They're supposed to be us.
Right.
But we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. So we fell under them.
We tell not to hear.
Right.
You got it.
All right.
Kick in the stomach, right?
It says, verse 13. Now, therefore, my sons, love thy brethren, and despise not thine heart, thy brethren. Despise not in thine heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of thy people. So, which means, if you do that and you follow the law, your brother, you wish them well, and you want them to be just like your family. So it becomes a chain reaction. Everybody's good.
Right.
But what happens? You out here on Broad Street, you see people, you automatically tense up.
Right.
You check your clocks. Your 9, your 6. You're like trying to figure out if it's a scam, a scheme, right? What's he about to ask you for now, right?
Right.
Man, that kind of gets too.
And also, look for verse 11, Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 and 30. Okay, for verse 11. Can that be if you don't mind? Could get that real quick.
Is it tease or cuss?
Tease. Ecclesiasticus. Cuss. So now it becomes like to become wealthy, to become rich, it becomes something that is very hard. It's like it's far-fetched from it, where it's something that's supposed to be like second nature.
And if you manage to do it, it's hard to deal with your people that aren't.
Right, because we lost that original programming that was supposed to be passed down from generation to generation. So now we downloaded this programming, secondary poor mentality, because we broke the law. So we're getting residue, we're getting leftover programming.
They had that guy, I'm not sure he's one of those TV shows. Some of the brother's names. It was Abraham Shakespeare. He had quite a name. This brother was like one of the few brothers you ever see hit the lottery, right? And it was like, when you go through the story about when he hit the lottery, his life just got like worse and worse to where it kind of turned up missing. It's just like, he won the lottery, but then his life got worse. Like, how is that possible, right? But
right.
That's the curse, man.
Right, it's the curse. We don't have that culture of know how to do this, know how to do that. Everything we don't have the law. Right?
Well, you watch a story like that, you go, man, maybe I don't want to hit lotto. Give it away to library.
Got it. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 3:30.
Ecclesiasticus 3:30. Water will quench a flaming fire,
Mm-hmm.
and alms maketh an atonement for sins.
Mm-hmm. Alms making an atonement for sins, just like water quench fire. Also, you could the same book, turn back to chapter 29 and 12. You could read that as well. Same book, Ecclesiasticus 29 and 12.
Ecclesiasticus 29 and 12. Shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all affliction.
Yep. Shut up alms in your houses, and he shall deliver thee from all afflictions. All right, back to, let's go to verse 14 now. No, 13. Now, therefore, my sons, love that. No, we read that. 14. Yeah, 13. Now, therefore, my sons, love thy brethren, and despise not in thine heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of thy people, and not taking a wife of them, for in pride is destruction and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay and great want. For lewdness is the mother of famine. That's a whole lot right there. Lewdness is the mother of famine. What are we talking about here? This one is a long one. Lewdness is the mother of all famine. Verse 14.
I mean, kind of what you've been talking about, Kahan, as
Mhm.
far as the importance of spiritual riches, which go into character, right?
Mhm.
First, based on the commandments,
Mm-hmm.
and then based on those commandments, applying them right, which leads to the fruits of the spirit, right? Your faith, your patience, your experience, your brotherly kindness, your peace, your meekness, your et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Charity,
Mm-hmm.
Love.
diligence. Charity and love are one and the same.
Right.
So all those fruits of the spirit work together. Those are all the Christ characteristics that one embody eventually.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now right here too, in
They
like
get a hand too.
right, because towards the end right here, right? Give me 1 second. Where it says, do not take in a wife of them, for in pride is destruction, and much trouble in lewdness, like ignorance, right? You should not be ignorant in that situation right there. Don't be ignorant. And also in lewdness, when it says is the mother of famine, do not stay idle. Do not stay idle. Find something to work on and put food on the table. That's why I mentioned is the mother of all famine. Because if you don't work to put things on the table, you're gonna go hungry. Because you ain't gonna feed yourself. You're gonna have any money, right, to buy things to even feed yourself. That's why it says the mother of all famine.
I mean, sorry.
Mhm.
But isn't that like slackness?
Slackness,
Slothfulness?
idle, yeah.
Right.
'Cause I thought Lou had to do with like lust, lasciviousness.
Now, in this right here, in the context of how it's being worded here, it says lewdness is decay and great want. For lewdness is the mother of all famine. Like slackness, lay back and don't work and don't to make provision for yourself. This can be a problem. Consummate.
Right. Because the first half of the verse is kind of giving advice as to make sure you continue with the love of your people and not taking a wife of the other nation.
Mm-hmm.
that became a thing with us where you'll see a brother with an Edomite or a Moabite woman, a sister would. And what happens? She'll feel bad. It's like, damn, I'm not good enough. You got to go and get with them.
Right.
Dang, it seems indecent. It seems wrong. It hurtful. So don't despise the love for your own people and taking a wife from them. It's almost in being comparison as being lewd, right? In their eyes. And that's the disdain that some people have when they see Israel with heathens, right? And we're the speckled bird. We're that beautiful nation that comes in different flavors. Well, you don't have to go and do that. Damn, it's hurtful to see it, right?
For them.
It's hurtful. And sometimes it's interesting that when we're at camp at times, the spirit already knows, the spirit confesses, because they seem all happy and jovial, but once they walk past the camp, they don't even want to look our way. They don't even want to have their eyes locked with us because of the guilt, right? It's subconsciously they know, and they'll get back and they'll walk past and get to the corner and everything's okay, right? They don't want to get called out. But what it does to your rest of your people when you see that, it begins to destroy, and it begins to also tank, because now it's like, well, if he's doing it, this is sisters. I mean, if he's doing it, all our ballers, celebrities, they going out there geeking, Edomite women. What? I'm not good enough? Then they start thinking that it's okay for them to go start doing it, right? And then so we have to make sure to keep our nation pure. That's the advice that Tobit was given to Tobias. Like, yo, don't consider that, man. It's almost being like lewd, obscene, lascivious. All of that is in comparison when you deal with another nation. That's how the nation looks at it from the outside looking in.
Go ahead.
It's the same thing that Samson's parents told him.
Right.
But he went and did it anyhow.
Right.
And look what happened to him.
The interesting thing about Samson, when Samson went and did it, right, the scripture tell you that it was of the Lord that the Most High put the spirit on Samson to desire to have that, because it was going to cause an occasion later on for the confrontation with the Philistine. So the Lord was using him and using that moment to now bring them together, and for her to tempt and do what she was doing with him to now cause the end effect. So that was of that. The scriptures tell you, but on the surface, this is the standard that we always supposed to be abiding by.
Right.
Go on.
Danger.
Yeah.
You tell little kids, right? Don't talk to strangers.
All the time. You'll never know what happened to him. I remember I went on a cruise. I got my wife and my 2 daughters. Now, this about 11, 12 at night.
Right. And
She upstairs at the top of the deck. Her and the oldest one come down, and the young one's upstairs. Yo, where's she at? Oh, she's still upstairs. Yo, y'all better get y'all behind up there, go get her, bring her back. I know what's going on. Like, push overboard, regular anything.
Yeah.
Right.
They got mad at me because look,
Yeah.
you not playing that there. That ain't in the cards. You don't play that.
Right.
They wouldn't got it though, but look, we ain't doing that.
Right. And the ultimate danger of dealing with the women of the other nation is what would keep us from keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and which will get us where we are today. Right. So that's the ultimate danger of dealing with the women of the other nation. And when you read Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3, chapter 7, verse 3, all the way to verse 4.
Wait, what's that? Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3 to 4.
You said 3?
3 and 4. That's the ultimate danger of not married wife of the other nation or strange women. Because then when that happened, you at the tipping point of throwing away everything that the Most High tell you that's good that you can inherit or you can become if you deal with them and they get you to keep away from the law. Because that's ultimately
follow their ways.
Right, yeah.
Right. This is, I think we mentioned it earlier, but I'll read this. Is Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 23 to 27.
Chapter 13?
Yeah, Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 23 to 27. And it reads, in those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of all Moab. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by the Lord, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God in marrying strange wives?
Right. You see that you mentioned, right?
That was decent right there.
Yes,
Decent.
that's mentioned right here in that verse. It says they speak this language and that language, and then he cursed them out. Because the thing with language is, while it's good to have a gift of tongue, speaking in different languages, it can be bad, right? Depends on the individual. If you don't grow up in your native language, right? Because you think, and whatever you do, you think in that language. Your way of life, how you see things, you view it in that language. Sometimes when you try to say something in a different language, you convert it to your original language that you originally know, so that you can make sense of what you say in that language. So by them speaking a different language, which is not their native tongues, it become a problematic, because now they try to fight, thinking in that culture, in that tradition, and try to convert it back into that language. So it could be a problem. So you're not really acting based on your original how you started. Right. So
it's a class in itself too. Just
That's heavy. So
linguistics and how it all ties into culture.
if you got one of them foreign wives,
That's its
take
own
it back,
topic.
right? Take it back and put it on the doorstep, right? And ring the doorbell.
Take it back to
Run.
Walmart, get a
Hey,
refund.
push your doorbell and run.
all right.
Back to pocket for them, 14 or 15.
14 and 15. 14 and 15 reads, Do that to no man which thou hatest.
Oh,
And in 14?
That's what you read, man.
Yeah, 14, I didn't read 14. Let not the wages of any man which have worked for thee. So if anybody's working for you, don't hold back their wages. Just pay them. Okay. It says, what for thee? Tarry with thee, but give him it out of hand. For if thou serve God, he will also repay thee. Be circumspect, my son, in all things thou doest, and be wise in all thy conversation. So if thou serve so pay them when they work for you, pay them.
Right.
You have people, you would work for them, you agree to work for them. After the job is done, they tell you, man, can you give me a cut, man, after you done agree on the price? Can you give me a cut? Can you give me a discount after you done work and you already agree on the price? And then next thing they tell you, can you agree to get paid right as soon as you finish work, right? They say, can you come back Friday? But the money is there. It's just like you don't want to give the money.
Okay.
Don't do that. The money is there, but you don't feel like letting it go.
Yeah,
But the man done work.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Or the woman done work, right?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. And it says,
Leviticus 19 and 13.
Leviticus 19,
Verse 13.
Okay. I got a Leviticus too.
And then Deuteronomy 24, 14 and 15 say the same thing. So it's a repeat of that same law. About every day being payday.
Leviticus, what is that again?
19 and 13.
Leviticus 19 and 13. You have one? Yeah.
No,
You got it?
In Deuteronomy 24, 14 and 15.
Deuteronomy 24, 13 and 15?
14 and 15.
14 and
It's
15.
19 and 13, right?
Of Leviticus.
And
Just wisdom behind that too.
okay. I wonder how that would work, because we was talking with the sister last night, entrepreneurship and things of that nature. So, you know, the system is easily currently set up for weekly, bi-weekly, monthly payments for like checks. I wonder if you can do that daily. Like if it's something where you can easily have it established where you can do, you know, you put your, I mean, I think it'll be harder because now you have to, you know, submit time cards or whatever, put it in every day and then pay them like that. But I wonder how that would work.
There's this app I saw. I haven't used it yet, but I saw an ad for it on YouTube called Earnin. The icon looks like this. It's like yellow and black. But I think that's what they do. They take your check and they like split it across, you know, I think you can decide how many work days. But I haven't played around with it yet. But when I saw a commercial for it, I was like, oh, it sounds a lot like the law. Interesting. It's called the Earnin app, but I haven't used it. So I can't really speak too much on it.
I mean, it can be done, but Esau make it a bit more complicated.
That's why I said it'll be a little bit more involved and intricate, but I didn't know if it's something that, you know, is capable of being done or if someone's already doing it, right? I'm pretty sure, you know, if it's capable, then somebody's is applying, trying to apply that law. To say, hey, you know, I got guys working under me, you know, contractors, whatever. I'm going to set it up. You get paid every day. I don't know if there's a benefit tax wise, if, you know, less tax coming out every day. I don't know. I haven't dived into it, but it'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess from a budgeting standpoint too, just for yourself, if you get a bi-weekly check, I guess a good practice too would be like split it into like 10 days, because 2 weeks, right? Five work days if you have a 5-day work week. And the numbers divide easy, right? You just tenth it where you say, okay, I got my old check, but let me discipline where I say I'll only deal with a tenth of that check each day. So each day I put a tenth aside for the Most High, I put a tenth into savings, investment, whatever, and the rest of it I only can touch that. And if I have to touch more than that, say because it's the beginning of the month, I got certain bills, that means I gotta weigh it out until like a couple of days later I'm not doing spending until I'm back in the black again. Where I say, okay, now I can touch this money that I now give myself access to since 3 or 4 days have gone by. You know what I mean? So
Right. And in Esau's system, the way it's set up, right? It cannot be done because the way they set it up, like everything electronic and it's paper check and
My shop posted right there. It's already been done.
Right.
Cash out there.
What you talking about? Uber?
Yeah, it's just
yes,
cash out
that's an
there.
example.
So, and that's a business.
Uber's got both.
Yeah.
You can do that, which they charge you a little fee, or they have it where it does direct deposit every. They have both.
I gotta get ready to take off in a minute or two.
Mhm.
We'll knock this out, or y'all gonna be a little more longer, or?
No, I mean if we almost done. If you can stick around. We at verse what 15?
15.
It says, Do not no man which thou hatest drink. Do that to no man which thou hatest. To thou hatest. Drink not wine to make thee drunken. Right? Neither let drunkenness go with thee in thine journey. So don't do to others what you would not like done unto you. Right? What you hate, don't do it to other people. What you hate people do to you, don't. And don't drink to get drunk. And don't drink to get drunk, right? And when you gonna go, don't let drunkenness in your journey, in thy journey. So if you're gonna hit the street, don't be drunk and then hit the street. So you might end up, you know what can happen.
That's how you get robbed.
Rodney?
That's how you get robbed.
Oh, I thought you said Rodney.
Oh, no comment. I think
Right.
I listen right now.
Oh,
Outstanding.
Right, verse 16. Give of thine bread, give of thy bread to the hungry, and of thine garments to them that are naked, and according to thine abundance give alms, and let not thine eyes be envious when thou givest alms. Right, so here it's like give your bread to the hungry. If you have extra food,
Give from the heart.
right? If you have extra food, somebody's hungry, give them some of that food.
You know,
Right.
real quick, I don't hold it up, but I was in a Dunkin' Donuts a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and this dude got his pants hanging all the way down halfway. He giving them cards that's not even registered and working.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the guy was like homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, what is this dude doing? So the one brother to the left of me, he said, how much is the bill? She said 12 or 13 something. He gave him 20, said, hey, pay for that, get out of here, dude. You know, gave it to him. I was like, whoa. Man, that really touched me, like, you know, heavy, man. I was like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
that was decent. I mean, because, you know, he came from the heart and did that. He said, look, here's my address. You send it back to me or something like that. He just gave it to him, you know. I was like, man.
Mm. So yeah, so you can see example all throughout, right?
Right, that was good.
Right, and also it says if you have extra garment,
Give it away, yeah.
give some
I
away.
believe in that. I definitely believe in that.
I know what
Right, according to, and it specify according to thine abundance give alms. So that's the key. Don't be like, man, you know what, I give him my last,
Right.
and the next thing you know, you went and complain, man, you know, I had my last dollar, man, I just give it to this man, man. Dang, man.
Right.
Don't don't do that. If you can give him 50 cents, give him 50 cents,
Right.
and keep 50 cents for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I know what we're trying to get through. Luke chapter 3 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
John the Baptist gives us same advice. So Luke chapter 3 and verse 11. I'll start from verse 10. People asked him like what to do as far as advice.
Mm-hmm.
So it says in Luke chapter 3 and verse 10, the people asked him, John the Baptist, saying, what shall we do then? Verse 11, he answered and said to them, he that hath 2 coats, let him impart to him that hath none. And he that hath meat, let him do likewise. Same idea.
Just 10 or 11, right?
Yeah. Same thing you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta have 2 before you can get 1. But then you get 1, you got 1 coat, you give it, now your coat.
Right.
Now you have to ask him someone else's coat.
Right.
According to what you have, that's how you give. And don't let your eyes envious after you give it. Say, man, I like that coat too, man.
All right. We at 17 now, right?
Yeah, this was one of my favorite coat, man. Damn. Now you start thinking maybe I should, you know, chase this guy and say, let me take it back, you know. Yeah, I made a mistake, you know. Don't do that. All right, in verse 17. Pour out thy bread on the burial of the just, but give nothing to the wicked. All right, so now, you see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Pour out thy bread on the burial of the just, but give nothing to the wicked. What is that talking about here?
Okay. They're all 2/3. All of them.
Yeah.
Y'all all 2/3. They ain't giving you a damn thing.
So 2/3 of Israel? Cut off? Oh, okay.
Right?
You can just write down Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verses 1 to 7, where it talks about know to whom you're doing good to.
Right.
Ecclesiasticus.
Oh, that's in
It's in the Apocrypha, yeah.
Ecclesiasticus.
Yeah, chapter 12, verses 1 down to 7. Right, that goes into, you know, using discretion on how you are giving alms and who you're giving money in.
chapter 12.
12, verses 1 to 7.
Reference earlier. That's the chapter 4 to 12 are the ones who are kind of weighing the balance. Wait a minute. Here it says give. Here it says don't give. Oh, okay. Righteous. This one's wicked.
the wicked, who would you consider as the wicked? Those that's not following the truth, or
Not the wicked.
I
So
mean,
it says the sin.
Israel is not following the truth, but we got to still consider them.
Right. That was
So
good.
then you talk about these other nations, that's the wicked.
Right.
That has to be wicked.
Chapter 12 says the sin.
That's civil.
Context is referring to our people.
Also,
Don't get nothing. Oh, 2/3.
Yeah, took the whole paper. What's the 30th, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed y'all guys today, man. I ain't no idea I was coming this way. I said, let me stop and know these guys, man. Surprise, right? You know,
Hey,
he ain't even showed up, man.
hey, Junior. Hey, don't be a stranger.
mhm.
I kind of enjoyed this here, man.
All right, so let's go on and finish up. Verse 18. Ask counsel of all that are wise, and despise not any counsel that is profitable. Right? If you know a man, a woman is to be is wise, right? Ask counsel. Meaning, if you're gonna do something, and you find someone that of the same mind that keep the law, statutes, and commandments, ask for counsel, ask for advice, right? And if you see it profitable, don't disregard it, apply it.
Gotcha.
Right? If it's profitable. Verse 19. Verse 19 reads, bless the Lord thy God always, and desire of him that thy ways may be directed, and that all thy path and counsel may prosper. For every nation have not counsel, but the Lord himself giveth all good things. And he humbleth whom he will, as he will. Now therefore, my son, remember my commandments, neither let them be put out of thine mind. Right? So see right here, one might say, man, this is his commandments. You see, my commandments. But everything that he was saying, it was based on the Spirit. All in the scriptures. That's not his commandments. Right? He said my commandments because he's the Father talking to his son, but this is not his commandments because everything is spiritual.
Same thing in Proverbs does the same thing.
Correct.
My son, take heed to my warning. You know, his word is a similar way.
Right. Because the reason why I say that is some might say a disciple, like for example, Paul would say something, and then this is Paul speaking. You know what I mean? This is not, it's not scripture. And now I signify this to thee, that I committed 10 talents to Gabiah, the son of Gabrias, at wages in media. So after he gave all the instructions, that's when you notice he talk about the money. Yeah, he didn't talk about the money, before he gave him the money, and then he talk about all the principles, give him all the things that he gotta, abide by to be successful. Then he tell him about the money.
Nice. Priorities.
Come on. And it says, then he signed the paper. He signified this to thee, that I committed 10 talents to Gemaiah, the son of Gabrias, at wages in media. And fear not, my son, that we are made poor. It said, and fear not, my son, that we are made poor, for thou hast much wealth. You see that? If thou fear God. Check this out. You see right here?
Mhm.
That's very powerful right there.
Amen.
Because he said, in appearance, he may seems like we ain't got nothing. But guess what? If you fear the Most High, you're gonna be fruitful and multiply. If you apply everything that I just spoke about, you're gonna be fruitful and multiply. Because the poor is just on the outside looking in. It's not really poor per se, but it's based on perception. Right? If you believe that the Most High can help you do all things, I can do all things with Christ, you apply the scriptures, then it becomes automatic because that is a tradition. Right?
You can link Tobit 1 and 20 with this.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't read that before.
Tobit 1 and 20. It's the link up, right?
Yeah.
It says, goes with the same scripture that says, I know thy work tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
That's Revelation 2:9.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I know it said thou art rich. We are rich.
We are rich. Filthy rich. We just don't know.
We just don't know it. Because we lost all inheritance, spiritual and physical.
And then snatch on James 2 and 6. Have not God chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, heirs of the kingdom?
Right. Right. It says, and fear not, my son, that we are made poor, for thou hast much wealth if thou fear the Lord. That's the condition.
Thou fear God.
Yeah, that's the condition. And depart from all sin and do that which is pleasing in his sight. That's it. So
Oh,
we
I enjoy it. Let's go get together here today and stay nice.
fine.
What's the first thing here? Sabbath. The incense. Any significance to that? No. What does it do?
That's what the priest will burn.
I know they burn frankincense and myrrh.
Right.
But that was to calm the air.
No, not necessarily. It's just the, it was prescribed by the Most High, but
Mhm.
he did.
Because he understands that smell.
Right. It's
Because, for an example, Aaron, he had the two sons. They went into the tabernacle burning something that he wasn't familiar with.
Mhm.
And they thinking, well, it's an incense. But God ended up killing both of them in there because he didn't appreciate that smell, so they got whacked,
Right.
So, but this here, frankincense and myrrh, he's familiar with that smell.
Right.
So I guess his presence was still, with two or three gathered in his name, days in the midst, would float among us. Am I getting it right? Or?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay. So in closing, housekeeping rules. Every Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 to 10, we have class. You can join into the class in a Zoom setting where you'll be able to see each other in the Zoom
Will y'all
link.
still be here though, or still be?
Good. Is profitabletalks.com. Also, we have a conference line. If you cannot join the Zoom for whatever reason, you can do it via phone. You can dial in. And you got the link right here scrolling. All right, you put the conference code. I'm gonna let it scroll one more time.
I'll get it from the area. I'll get it.
All right. Also, the address. If you happen to be in Philly, you want to visit.
Right.
3826B Germantown Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19140. And of course, if you want to continue support this good word, you can give a donation to PayPal at paypal.me.hyk or $Hakanas on Cash App, which is calling here.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. If I'm around and I got something to give, I'll do that there.
No problem.
Can I
Or you can bring it in.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. So, what else? Am I missing anything?
Oh, next week.
Next week, the reading will be 1 King chapter 15 and chapter 16. All right. So, if I'm not missing anything, stay tuned for the closing prayer and enjoy the rest of the Sabbath. Tell a friend, tell a family member, right, about Ayashwala Kanas, about the class, so that they can come and get this good word. All right. With that, stay tuned for the closing prayer. Barakata Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ashurana Tanawa Paya Gaban Tuwara Aman, La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai At Yasha'al. English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the sweet savor, that gives to us the fruit of the vine, to Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, with Israel. I mad upon you, are you wash them, stand face truth. I repeat the Hebrew only. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahasham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
Babakushai,
Babakushai,
Shema,
Shema,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Aita,
Aita,
Yamyun,
Yamyan,
Aita,
Aita,
Shalak,
Shalak,
Maika Allah,
Ma'ika Allah,
Wala Alahayim,
Wala Alahayim,
Ataza Wadakim,
Tazwadaki,
Shema Aya,
Shema Aya,
Barak,
Barak,
Rapa,
Rapa,
Magun,
Magan,
Wakaziyak,
Wakaziyak,
Banya,
Banya,
Yasha Allah,
Yasher Allah,
Wasalak,
Washalak,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Kakama,
Kakama,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
the Aif,
Da'ai,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Bayana,
Bayana,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Sabalanwa,
Sabalonga,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Amawan,
Amawan,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Aqua,
Aqua,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Ahabiam,
Ahabi,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Agana,
Agana,
Rakhanaya,
Rochanai,
Wasalak,
Wasalak,
Kau,
Kal,
Kata Yemnawa,
Katayana,
La Akim,
Baha'aki,
Wayasha Allah,
Oyasha Allah,
Tamyad,
Tamyad,
Rai Wulam,
Wa'iwalam,
Bahasham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the water,
Kawada,
Aman.
Aman.
English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please listen to us now. Right now, send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel, and send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive us all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahushua, I thank you, so be it. The four corners prayer. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'asham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Barak Nawa,
Barak Nawa,
Wayasha Allah,
Yasha Allah,
Wabafia Sapayim,
Bapia Safari,
Shammai,
Shema,
Yasharallah,
Yasharallah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Allah Hayanawa,
Allah,
Yahweh, Akkad. All right. Happy Sabbath. Enjoy the rest of the Sabbath day. Men circle up. English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, bless us in the house of books. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our power is one power. All right. All right, circle up, brothers. Happy Sabbath. Rest of the Sabbath. Enjoy and have a good week. Shalom. We're gonna salute each other now.